chasing him and ran him off the road.
That's case number 212 on the calendar in the matter of Rochelle Chronister versus Wynn. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Chronister, this is your son?
Yes.
He's 17 years old?
Yes.
Have you ever had any trouble with him driving a car?
That was the first incident. He had only had his license for a month when this incident occurred.
Okay. What's your first name?
Corey.
So let's talk about this, Corey.
Okay.
According to your complaint, Mr. Wynn is a real nut. And he chased you in his car for no reason and caused you to have an accident. And after you had the accident and he caught up with you, he slammed his car into yours, causing damage to your car. So you had damage from the accident and you had damage from his car hitting yours.
Yeah.
And in addition, you say that he slammed the trunk of your car on your arm.
Yes, ma'am.
When you went to get a baseball bat out of the trunk of your car, and that caused you injury. All told, you want Mr. Wynn to compensate you in the amount of $2,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wynn says that he was being a good Samaritan,
Yes, ma'am.
that he saw you involved in a hit-and-run accident. You took off after you hit something, and he was following you until he could get the police to apprehend you. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Wynn. On what day were you being this good Samaritan?
June 30th, I believe it was.
April 30th.
April 30th. I'm sorry, excuse me.
And where were you going to, and where were you coming from?
I was coming home from work,
And what time of the day was it that you were coming home from work?
approximately 3:45, 10 to 4.
What kind of car were you driving?
I drive a 95 Dodge van. It's my work van, so I carry all my equipment and tools in it. It's a full-size van.
And what car were you driving, Corey?
95 Ford Taurus.
Whose car is that?
That was my car. It was in her name, but I was driving it.
Who was with you?
3 of my friends were with me.
Did you ever have an agreement with your mother not to drive other people around in your car?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Wynn. So you're driving down the road, and what do you see that draws your attention?
I was heading south on Blanding. He was coming north on Blanding. There was a white car. It was a good ways ahead of me, probably 100, 150 yards ahead of me.
Ahead of you?
Ahead of me.
So you're going in the opposite direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He made the turn to go down Alligator, which is my road that I go down also. I seen him hit the back end of the white car. It wasn't real hard, but he did hit it and just took off. I mean, he just nailed it and went. The lady who was driving the other car, which I didn't stop, had pulled over, was getting out of the car as I rounded the corner, and I just stepped on it trying to catch up with the car, see if I could at least get the tag number. That's all my intention was, is to get the tag number. Being he's in a smaller car and I'm in a big van with a lot of tools and equipment, I couldn't keep up with that van, with the car.
My car is not a smaller car. It's not like a little bitty car. It's a big car. I could fit like probably 6 or 7 people in my car.
I'm not asking you that, Corey, dear.
Sorry.
Mrs. Chronister, you weren't there.
I know.
You weren't there. Does Mr. Wynn look like a nut to you?
No,
He does not. He doesn't look like a nut.
but I believe his behaviors throughout the thing were...
Just a second. He doesn't look like a nut.
No.
So if your son told you that he didn't hit this car, his son is lying to you.
My son never said he did not. He admitted to hitting the car, even to the
Okay.
police.
Good. So you hit this car.
Yes, ma'am, I bumped the car.
After you hit the car, what did you do?
On the Alligator, the road that he was turning on, we stopped. The other car was going the other way, like we were in the median and we were coming across. We stopped and looked over, and then her car just kept going. So we just kept going. And then with this car, the van, we seen a van behind us. I started taking the turns to go to my house. They were like, "This van's following you." I said, "The van's following me?" They said, "Yeah, speed up." So I said,
Just a second. Did you get out of your car to look and see if there was any damage on your car?
No, ma'am.
Why not? When you hit somebody, when you hit somebody and you're moving, that's what you do.
Yes, ma'am. It was a very slight bump, so I knew there was nothing wrong with the car.
Got it?
Yes.
Now, I can understand a woman in a car with 4 men in another car who's bumped, maybe not feeling comfortable about pulling to a complete stop, if that's what she says is happening. But that doesn't mean his first reaction isn't to get a plate number and then report it to the police, right?
I had no disagreement with that. Right.
Fine. So he started following you. And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
what happened?
So they were like, he's following me. So I took down a couple roads. I was still driving, just regular driving, and he kept following.
Now, you
everywhere.
saw him immediately after you hit the white car.
No, man, I took a turn, and then they.
Why did you take a turn?
I never saw him. My friend said.
Why did you take a turn?
Because I was turning to go to my house. I just kept going. I didn't think nothing of it.
What street did you turn down?
It's just like a little dirt road that comes onto a alligator.
Do you know what street he's talking about?
No, ma'am, I had it written down, but I didn't. I apologize, I didn't bring it. But he turned down that one. He turned down several of them. And as far as regular driving,
roads.
he was fishtailing.
You hit the white car, and how much later did you take a turn?
Probably 5 minutes. I mean, I had to go down alligator a little
About
ways.
3 blocks.
3 blocks. Now, he's following you. You're 4 guys in a car. He's 1 guy in a van.
Well, we didn't know who. Like, I couldn't see inside his van. We didn't know anything about the van. We just knew that he kept saying he was following you. He's following you. So I said, okay, well, let's find out if he's following me. So I started turning down roads that I wasn't on my way to go home. And I just turned down and turned him, and he's still there. I started looking in my rearview mirror. He's still there.
Why
So-
didn't you go down the road and go home and call the police?
Because my house was an hour away from there. I live a long way away from town.
Well, what about your friends? How close do they live?
They, I would have had.
Corey,
Yes,
Corey.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
As a very, very dear friend of mine says, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. Ultimately, it's only my opinion that counts.
And later today,
So you went from her to her, back to her. Is that right? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, that's fine.
You must have some secret something, George, and if you do, it's got to be a good secret, because I don't see it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 17-year-old Corey Rossell says fellow motorist Russell Wynn ran him off the road during a chase. Russell says Corey was fleeing the scene of a traffic accident.
Now, did you ever think that the woman that you hit in the white car was thinking the same thing about you and your 4 friends in your car?
No, ma'am, because we had stopped and we saw her drive off, so we just thought it was just...
She didn't drive off.
No, ma'am, he didn't even slow down.
She didn't drive off. That's what you told your mother.
If he'd have stopped, ma'am, I'd have went on my way, thought nothing of it.
If she would have stopped, how would he have known that she stopped if he was following us from the minute that he saw it?
Because he says he saw you hit her and take off. That's how.
That didn't happen. We stopped. I swear we stopped.
That's what you do when you hit another car, even if it's a little bump. You get out, you look at your car, you look at their car, you say, is everything all right? Are you all right? And then you leave. Unless you're scared that you've had your driver's license for a month, you got 4 friends in the car, and maybe if you just take off, this whole nasty thing's just going to go away. It's just common sense, Corey. That's what makes the world go round, common sense. That's why he was chasing. He's not a nut. He sees 4 kids in a car, hit another car, and take off. And that's why he was following you.
Yeah. There was other incidents that made me feel different after the fact that we got onto the main road, and he was still right behind me. Well, it's just rained, so it was pretty slick outside, and I started going through all these roads. I finally got to the end of the road, so I turned onto a main road, and he was still right behind the road. He's still there. He got right up beside my car. This is why I didn't think he was actually following me, because he ran my car off of the road. And he ran my car off the road to where he almost ran right into my driver's side door. And then he got out, and all I could hear was him cussing and cussing and cussing. And so I just took off. I was like, I'm not going to sit here for this. And I took off, and then I was like, I'm turning here, and it just rained, and I had a lot of dirt on my tires, so it's slick, and I just ran right into the tree. And then after I hit the tree, I backed up, and the guy was still back there. And I started going through the parking lot, and they're like, he's still there.
And you got 3 other teenagers in the car with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
He's supposed to stop.
Well, I agree at one instant, but I'll be honest, I have told my children that because previously in Florida around our area, people have been shot, you know.
You mean cars bumped?
Cars bumped, you know, all
That's
that
why
kind
the
of
white
stuff.
car may have moved on with 4 men
and
in
I
the car
agree.
behind them.
I agree.
How do you not do the right thing and then come to court to sue about it?
Because I think he took justice into his own hands. I think he could have taken the license plate down.
Just a second. Do you think that your son was driving recklessly during that time?
I'm not saying he was in the right either, but I'm just...
Listen to me, Ms. Chronister. Then what you have to say is, if my son did something wrong, and as a result of my son doing something wrong, there was damage to my car, you don't come to court and sue over it.
I guess my main problem and concern comes in from when they did get on the main road. And he did come up on the side of them to the point where...
So get him over so that he would stop his car.
And when he did stop his car, he comes out cussing and hollering.
How many minutes did it take for him to chase you down?
Probably 20, 25.
He's on his way home from work.
And I understand that, but it's not even like his car was involved in it. He was supposedly being a good Samaritan, I understand, but I just think he went overboard.
You're entitled to your opinion. As a very, very dear friend of mine says, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. Ultimately, it's only my opinion that counts. Your son did the wrong thing. He hit a car, he took off from the accident. This gentleman who was just looking to go home after a day's work said, that's not right, they just hit this lady in a car and took off. 4 kids in a Taurus, and I'm going to catch up with him, and I'm going to get his license plate, and I'm going to see to it that he's reported. And your son takes off and takes him on a 25-minute chase. I would have taken away his driving privileges. Did you get him a new car?
No.
Good. Your case is dismissed.
But ma'am,
Thank you,
I have a question though. After my son wrecked, this is where the punitive comes in, he hits him from behind, gets out of his car with a bat, and follows my son with a bat in his hand, screaming and yelling at him.
Threatening him.
How is
with
that?
A bat.
And what did your son do?
My son stood there and yelled. They were yelling. His car was smoking. Then my son went around and went to get the bat, and that's when
Went to get his bat.
Right.
Good. Case is dismissed. Goodbye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She kept going, like I said.
My intention was only to get his tag number.
No evidence was found that I hit her.
I was bound and determined to get the tag number.
There was no evidence she was ever there.
That's the only thing I was trying to do is get a tag number.
It's just my word against his, and I guess his won.
I just doing my duty.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lopez Chanter Osaka versus Muth. Step forward, please.
18-year-old Beverly Lopez and her boyfriend, 20-year-old waiter George Chanter Osaka, are suing George's former lover, 19-year-old tutor Saram Muth, for breaking into their home and stealing property.
Pronounce your last name for me.
Chanter Osaka.
Chanter Osaka. What's your first name?
George.
George. Do you mind?
No.
According to your complaint, this young lady is George's former girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend.
Former, that's former.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
And it is your claim that she broke into the apartment that you now share with George.
Yes.
Broke the door to your bedroom, vandalized the room, and took some of your property. Your defense is that it's your apartment, and you have the right to go into your apartment because you're on the lease.
Yes.
And you did take some of her property, but that was a mistake.
Yes, I did.
But that you gave it back to her.
Yes, I did.
When did you break up with George?
We broke up a week before I left, which was about May 24th.
And when did you come back to the apartment on the incident that Miss Lopez is complaining about?
A week after June 11th.
And when did you move into the apartment, Miss Lopez?
I think the last week of May.
And you moved in with George?
Yes.
So now he's your boyfriend?
He's been my boyfriend. We broke up for about a month, and that's when he got with her.
So you went from her to her, back to her, is that right? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
You must have some secret something, George, because and if you do, it's got to be a good secret, because I don't see it. Now, you came back June 18th. Tell me why you came into the apartment. What were you looking for?
I came back to the apartment to drop off his wallet because he left it in my cousin's car. And I was there to pick up some of my stuff and take it back to California with me. Little did I know, my door was locked. So out of anger, I broke my door knob
off. The door that you had that you say was locked, is that a door to a bedroom that you had shared with George?
Yes.
So it was George's bedroom as well?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I broke off the doorknob, went in, took my stuff, and I also took her stuff out of anger.
And where did you put them when you took them?
I actually took it with me to California. But then I realized my stupidity, and I brought it back the next day.
You're lying.
Just a second, did you get it back?
No, I didn't get any of my stuff back.
Show me that you brought it back and gave it to her.
I have a witness who can't come in because she's a minor.
Well, then if you have a witness that I can't question, then you have no witness.
You're right, I don't. But I did bring it back. Why would she wait for a month to file a report saying that I stole her stuff?
I called you and I told you that I wanted my things
Listen,
back.
Miss Lopez, don't speak to her. Speak to me.
Okay.
Did you get your property back?
No, I didn't.
Okay. You have a bill for the replacement of the doorknob?
No, I don't.
I don't know.
But this is the doorknob. This is how it looks when she broke it off.
I don't need the doorknob, madam. She says she broke the doorknob. I need what it's going to cost to fix it.
Well, we don't have the bill.
You have a list of items that she took out of your room?
I have a police report.
Well, you originally told the police, madam, that all the stuff that was taken was original value and current value were the same, $900. Why are you suing her now for $4,500?
Because my things are actually worth more than $900 at
You
the
mean
time.
they increased in value since you filed the police report?
No, I didn't.
Listen to me. If you file a police report and they ask you what the value is and you gave them their original value and the current value, I assume that when you filed that police report you were trying to be as accurate as possible. Is that right?
Yes, but at the time I wasn't really thinking because I was really...
And now you're thinking? Is what you're telling me now you're thinking? Heaven help me. You have no right to take up property and you have no proof that you returned it. I have no idea how much it's going to cost to fix the doorknob because you don't bring me a bill.
And she broke my video camera too.
You have a bill to have it fixed?
No, I don't.
Well, what am I supposed to do? I'm not a mind reader.
Your Honor, I did not break his video camera.
I'm not considering the video camera because people have to know that when they come to court, they have to be prepared. They have to be prepared with documents. They have to be prepared with receipts. They have to be prepared.
But
I'm speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They have to be prepared with an estimate of what it's going to cost to fix property if there's an allegation of damage. If you don't have that, the judge isn't going to get it for you. George, you got it?
Yes, yes.
Good. As far as you're concerned, you made this report soon after the incidents occurred. You told the police what happened. You told the police what your property was worth. You told them at that time that it was worth $900, which is probably a stretch. Certainly that stretch isn't going to be stretched into $4,500. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. That's all. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You must step out. Get up. Be quiet. Thank you. Your Honor, this is case number 162 on the calendar in the matter of Starling versus Bartelli. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Miss Starling, Mr. Bartelli was your former live-in boyfriend, and according to your complaint, he owes you a whole bunch of money. He owes you some money for rent. He owes you some money for some court costs that you laid out for him. You want him to pay for new tires for your car. All in all, you're really annoyed with him. I gather that Mr. Bartelli moved out unceremoniously with no notice. Is that right, sir?
I feel I don't owe her the money.
No. You moved out unceremoniously, which means that you didn't have a discussion with her, you didn't sit down and talk to her, you just packed up your things, you decided you had enough, and you just left.
Your Honor, I just fed up with it. I don't feel I should have...
Just say yes. Just say yes. That's what you said here.
Nah, I don't feel it's right.
Oh, this is going to be harder than I thought. I'm going to get to you in a second. All right, Miss Starling. I have to see if I'm playing now with a level playing field. Here we go, because I haven't asked you a question yet. When did you and Mr. Bartelli move into this apartment that you shared?
In October of 2003. Your Honor.
Had you lived together before?
Yes.
And when you moved into this apartment, did you both sign the lease?
Yes, we did.
Can
And I
see
have a copy of that.
the lease?
I don't think I didn't sign the lease.
Oh, take me back to the family court, please. Okay, so, Mr. Bartelli, it is your statement, sir, that you did not sign the lease. Is that, you did not sign the lease?
I don't remember signing the lease.
Ah, that's a different thing. Shut up. I I believe you said I didn't sign no lease. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was a quote, because that was bad grammar. Now you say I don't remember signing the lease. Is that right, sir?
Yeah.
So then, Officer Byrd, would you please show Mr. Bartelli this witnessed signature on the lease?
It's your signature?
Yeah, but I don't remember signing it.
Mr. Bartelli?
You just don't remember.
Mr. Bartelli, that's possible that you don't remember signing it.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you didn't sign it.
So me and Miss Starling were together, and she sent roses and flowers to my office trying to get us back together. Then whenever I didn't comply to that, she took and sent me court papers.
Miss Starling, I don't want to hear from you. I want him. He's dying to say this. So you know what my sense is? If I let him say this maybe once, maybe he'll get it out of his system so that when I ask him questions, he'll give me a relevant answer. All right? So, Mr. Bartelli, go to it.
Excuse me?
All I said to you was, sir, the fact that you don't remember signing it is belied by the fact that you did actually sign it in front of a witness. And you started to tell me about flowers and candy that she sent you. And I didn't see how those two things were connected in any way.
Well, me and Miss Starling used to drink, and we quit drinking. We moved to Orlando, and she had lost her job, and her son moved in with us. I feel I owed her money because I had to pay that money. And then she started drinking. That's why I left. And then when I left, she started sending flowers and stuff to my job, and then I didn't comply to that, and she sent me court papers.
Now he got it all out of his system, right? That's your whole story,
yeah.
And you're sticking to it,
I feel
right?
I don't owe the money.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now we have to go do this my way, which is collect information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to make a ruling on her lawsuit. Do you understand, Mr. Bartelli?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of work do you do, sir?
I do carpentry work.
Okay. Which I assume you understand very well.
Mm-hmm.
Good. This is what I understand. I understand evidence. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you signed a lease on the apartment in October of 2003. And when did he move out?
April 3rd, 2004.
Now, you moved out, sir, because according to what you said in your mentally prepared statement, she started to drink again, you didn't want to live with her anymore.
Yeah.
So you want to tell me whether you discussed moving out, or you didn't discuss moving out, or you just packed your bags one day and left?
I just packed my bag and left.
If you just packed your bags one day and left, sir, you are still responsible, at least partially, on this lease. You signed a lease, obligating yourself to pay half the rent for a period of time. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why do you think that you shouldn't be held responsible for at least paying the rent until such time as she can secure someone else that she wants to live with, if that's at all possible?
Well, I feel I didn't ask her for money whenever she had lost her job and her son had moved in with us, and I didn't ask for money back for that. So why should I have to pay that?
How much
rent?
were you supposed to pay in rent, Mr. Bartelli?
The rent's $1,000 a month.
So your half was $500?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you expect her to cover the other $500 a month for the remainder of the lease?
Yeah, but see, I didn't ask her for money for the electric and food and stuff like that.
I paid her. Oh. Okay. All right. Now, you also claim that you helped him out when he was arrested a while ago by giving him $500 to pay for some bad checks that he had written. And Mr. Bartelli, you don't deny that you had gotten yourself into some criminal trouble.
No, I don't deny, but see, all of our money was in together.
No.
She might have
Listen to me.
paid that, but I paid this.
Listen!
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So is what you're telling me, after you wrote this series of bad checks, you decided to open up a joint checking account with you?
No way.
No, just to say.
No way.
And later today,
I reached back and pulled the chair up so I could sit down. He had pulled that chair, and I fell down, and I yelled, "Philip, why did you move that chair?" He laughed.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Diane Starling says ex-boyfriend Frank Bartelli owes for unpaid rent and a loan for tires. Frank says he and Diane shared their money.
Let me remind you what you said, sir, in your answer. You said, I don't deny that she gave me the money for these bad checks.
Yeah.
How did you pay her back for the jail bail money?
Well, she had borrowed the money from her brother. And like I said, we worked and all of her money was in one bank account. So she might have took the money out to pay that, but we took my money out to pay other bills. So all of her money was in the same account.
But you said that she borrowed that $500 from her brother.
Yeah, she paid her brother.
So if she borrowed that $500 from her brother, did you pay her brother back the $500?
Yeah, she sent checks to her brother.
She sent her checks to her brother for the $500.
Mm-hmm.
And the $500 was coming out of a bank account that you both pooled your money for household expenses. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
No, everything.
What's everything?
All of her money was in the same account. My whole check gets deposited, and hers did too.
Well, was this bad check money an expense that you anticipated?
No, this is all of her money was in the same account.
Try to listen to what I'm saying, Mr. Bartelli. When you wrote the bad checks, did you know you were going to have to pay them back?
Yes.
So why did you write them?
At the time, I didn't have no money, didn't have a choice.
So it was always your intention to pay back the money for the bad checks, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
In what year did you write the bad checks?
2002.
And when did they finally catch up with you?
2003.
On what checking account did you write the bad checks?
That was out of my checking account.
Why didn't you use your joint account that you had with her?
Because we didn't have that account at that time.
So is what you're telling me after you wrote this series of bad checks, you decided to open up a joint checking account with you?
No way.
No, just to save. I just got a savings account. She got a
So you
checking
didn't have a joint checking account?
No.
No.
Please.
All right. Now let's get to the tires. He used your truck, and after he left, you found the tires needed to be replaced.
They were bald.
They were
With
bald.
wires
Well,
showing
that's
this
your
much.
fault. Listen, Diane, darling, you let him use the truck, right?
Right. I didn't notice they were so bad.
Listen to me. Well, you should have noticed. Mr. Bartelli, I know that you don't feel as if you owe Miss Starling any money, but you do. You can't just decide that you are fed up and pack up your bags and move out, because that's immature and it's irresponsible and it's sticking someone else with a big obligation that they didn't anticipate paying by themselves. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So you owe her $2,500 for the rent. She also helped you out by borrowing money from her brother, and you didn't pay her back. Despite all your speeches, you didn't pay her back. So I'm entering a judgment in the plaintiff's favor in the amount of $3,000. Do the right thing, Mr. Bartelli, that's all.
Parties are
Thank you.
excused. You may step out.
I think it went very well. I'm glad that Mr. Bartelli is being held accountable for what he did to me.
She just upset because I left her.
Well, I wanted to ask him to step outside, but he was too small.
She just left messages begging me to come back, and I wouldn't do it.
I miss him. He's a good guy, basically.
I hope we could be friends.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Elliott versus Worsham, step forward, please.
Plaintiff Sheila Elliott is suing casino owner Ken Worsham for pain and suffering due to an accident in his casino. Sheila says she fell to the ground when a worker removed a chair from underneath her during a game of Texas Hold'em.
Mr. Worsham, do you operate a casino? Is that what you do?
Yes.
Where is the casino?
Sacramento.
According to what I've read, Miss Elliott, you were playing some sort of a game, Texas Poker?
Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em. I'm trying to figure out how this game was played, but I gather that there are 10 players to start with. Is that right, sir?
Normally there's 9.
And when one person leaves, they take away that spot, and it goes to fewer people and fewer people, almost like musical chairs. Miss Elliott was playing this Texas Hold'em, and according to you, you went to sit down, and one of the employees of the casino had removed the chair that you were going to sit on. Is that right?
At the time, the chair was there.
Well, when you went to sit down, the chair wasn't there.
Yeah, when I went to sit down, it was gone.
And you fell.
Yes.
And you want Mr. Worsham
Worsham.
to pay you $5,000.
Yes.
What time did you start to play Texas Hold'em?
I started there early in the afternoon.
What date? Can we date?
On the 2nd.
2nd of what?
Of January.
And what time did this incident happen when you fell?
It happened like, to my recollection, I would say 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Anybody have a different time and date?
Yes, it happened about 6:30 a.m. in the morning.
So she fell about 6:30 a.m. in the morning.
That's
How do you
correct.
know that, sir?
We had a tape of it, of the incident.
And that's what the tape indicates?
Yes.
Okay. Is that possible?
No, it happened before then. Now, what his tape is showing, it could be. I didn't see this tape. I asked to see the tape.
That's not what I asked you.
Okay.
I said, could it have been at 6:30?
No, I believe it was before 6:30.
Who was the employee who was moving around the chairs?
Mr. Philip Leong.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sheila Elliott says she was injured during a game of Texas Hold'em at Ken Worsham's casino. Sheila says a casino worker removed her chair while she was trying to sit down.
Miss Leon, you're an employee of Mr. Worsham's?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what time this incident happened?
I come in, see play on the table, and
what
around
time?
6:30.
You moved a chair, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me why you moved the chair?
Because gotta player get off the table, so I get off the table. So I ask anybody want to move the chair. We have 10 seats.
Mr. Worsham, you're going to have to act as partial translator for me. I'm not following this.
Okay, well, he asked if anybody was going to move seats. And then when no one said they were going to move, then you take a chair out.
Okay. Is that what was basically happening? One chair was being taken away?
No, ma'am.
Well, tell me what your version of these events are.
My version is it was late in the morning.
Okay. Go ahead.
There were approximately about 6 to 7 players at the table, not 10.
Okay.
And not that many chairs.
Okay.
So what happened was Philip was reading a book for about maybe 30 to 40 minutes. So when I noticed that it was a few players and I had been sitting in this one particular seat for so long, I looked over at him reading the book. I said, Philip, can I move into that seat? He said, yeah, go ahead. Just like that. So it was me, a chair, and the third chair, the one I want to move into. So I didn't go behind the chairs. I came in front of the chairs. And I put my hand on the table like you normally do, as I do all the time. I reached back, because the chair, I felt the chair on the calf of my leg. I reached back to pull the chair up so I could sit down. No chair. He had pulled that chair immediately. And I yelled. I said, Philip, why did you move that chair? And he said, oh, and they all started laughing. He laughed. That's what made me so mad. And when I fell down, my shove fell on my left shoulder. And when I fell down, I felt something like in the back of my neck, back of my head, like, and they was going to pull me up with this arm. And I said, no.
Miss Elliott, after you fell down, did you find a chair?
No, the chair wasn't there.
Shh. Did you find a chair to sit and continue playing that morning?
After they got me up?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I did.
And how many hours did you continue to play after you fell on your behind?
No,
just a second. Just answer my question. How many hours did you continue to play?
I stayed for several hours. I stayed there.
How many?
Oh, I
1
stayed
hour,
all, no.
2
no,
hours?
No, I stayed all that day.
3 hours. All day?
Yes.
And I read your papers, and you said that after you fell, however, you felt a little woozy, and you went to the bathroom, and you took a Vicodin.
Yes, right.
Where'd you get the Vicodin from?
I carry Vicodins with me all the time.
For what?
Because I had back surgery back in '92.
So
and
you
when I have back
92 was 12 years ago.
I have back problems, and ever since I had the back surgery, I've been on pain medication.
So you take pain medication for your back?
Not frequently now, but I just carry it with me in case.
Carry it with you just in case you fall?
If I get, yes.
And
not
in
case I fall.
Miss Elliott, and you sat and played all day that day, is that right?
Waiting for him to come in.
I don't care what, listen.
Yes,
Miss Elliott,
okay.
listen to me very carefully, my dear.
All right.
This is not windfall day. What Mr. Worsham said to you when you approached him, because you waited for him all day, instead of going to a hospital if you were injured because you couldn't move your shoulder, because your shoulder was all out and your back is out and you're taking Vicodin, you go to a hospital. You go to a doctor. You don't continue to play Texas Hold'em. Elliott, Mr. Leung, didn't purposely pull a chair out from under you. He wasn't playing a Halloween prank. You weren't injured. You only get paid if you're injured, even if he was negligent. And people who are injured don't stick around for a whole day and play Texas Hold'em, Miss Elliott. Do we understand each other?
I understand you.
Very good. Now, you offered her $500?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you offer her $500?
Well, she kept asking me what I was going to do for her. And I told her nothing. And she came back in and asked me again. And I finally said, okay, I'll give you $500. And she said, is that all I get? And I said, yes, that's all I'll give you. And she left again, went back and played cards.
What time was this? Do you recall?
This was another day. This was about 3 days later. In fact, I believe it was on a Monday or Tuesday.
You mean she came back, her injuries resolved, and she came back 3 days later?
Yes.
Is that right?
I came back to see him, not to play cards.
But you did play cards.
I wait while I was waiting for him, yes.
Miss Elliott, courts have important business to take care of. It is not the role of courts to allow people to abuse them with nonsense lawsuits. Your lawsuit is nonsense. Okay. You were not injured. If you were injured,
Yes, I
you would.
was.
No, if you were injured, a person of your age knows that if you fall on the floor and if you're injured, you don't sit around all day playing cards. You take care of your injuries. That's what you do. You chose not to do that. And you chose to come back a couple of days later to see him again, to ask him how much money he was going to give you. And while you were waiting, you weren't injured so much that you couldn't sit down and play a few games of Texas Hold'em or wherever else you were going to play. So, Miss Elliott, this is not a windfall day against Mr. Worsham. He offered you $500. You should have taken it. You didn't. He's not offering it anymore.
I didn't
Your
come back
lawsuit's
to him.
dismissed. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Was paying for her trips to see Martin.
That's case number 215 on the calendar in the matter of Carroll versus Clark. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Carroll, I've read your complaint, and according to your story, you met the defendant on a dating website over the internet. You began a long-distance relationship, and over the course of that brief relationship, you loaned her a substantial amount of money.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And then she broke up with you. She told you she had a new boyfriend. You want your money back.
Correct.
Ms. Clark says she never borrowed any money from you. You gave her money. The money that you advanced to her were gifts. She owes you nothing. When did you find each other on the internet?
That'll be about the October of last year.
How old are you, sir?
27.
Where do you live?
I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
And you?
I live in Martinsville, Virginia.
How old are you, Miss Clark?
27.
How many children do you have?
I have 5 children.
When you met on the internet, did you tell Mr. Carroll about your 5 kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right?
Yes,
You were looking for an instant family?
it didn't matter to me. She seemed like a nice person, so I wanted to get to know her better. And the fact that children never bothered me. I love kids, and I don't have any of my own, but I do have a niece who I adore, and I like children, so that condition didn't bother me.
When did you first meet in person?
Weekend of Halloween.
And how often did you see her?
After that, she came to see me about every other weekend, if not every weekend.
And she would come with or without her children?
She'd come with her children.
Did you all get along?
Yeah, got on pretty great. I took care of them for Christmas, and I bought them Christmas presents, which those were gifts. And then about the beginning of last year, beginning of this year is when I started loaning her the money.
When did you break up?
Beginning of May of this year.
Who broke up with whom?
She called me and told me she didn't want to continue the relationship. She said she needed more time in her life with no men in her life and wanted to get her life straight without a relationship, and that she wanted to stay friends and then maybe one day pick her relationship back up where it left off.
Okay, but you had a new boyfriend at that point?
Not at the time.
Okay.
After a little while, I did start seeing somebody else.
When?
A couple weeks.
A couple of weeks. Waited that long, did you?
It was mainly, I was trying to be nice. It was mainly because we argued all the time.
About what?
Pretty much any little thing you could imagine. Every time we were on the phone, we argued.
Okay. Is this the boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he here for any reason?
My witness.
For what?
Money that he was never said that it was a loan.
Well, how would he know that?
Because he was a friend of mine and he was with me all the time.
So you mean while you were dating Mr. Carroll and asking him for money, what's your name?
Triton Horton.
What?
Triton Horton.
First name?
Triton.
Triton. I have to tell that name to my daughter. She likes peculiar names for her children. That's one I haven't heard. Anyway, so Triton was around while you were dating and borrowing money from Mr. Carroll.
I wasn't borrowing any money from Mr. Carroll.
Taking money from Mr. Carroll. How do you like that better?
No.
So Triton was around while you were taking money and seeing Mr. Carroll. That's either a yes or a no, Miss Clark.
Yes, ma'am.
And then he became your boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
2 weeks after you dumped Mr. Carroll.
Yes, ma'am.
Does he live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Since when?
He's been living with me. Well, he lived with me even when we were together. So did his witness.
So, what's your name?
Myra.
Myra lived with you?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you two meet?
In Virginia Beach. I brought her and her boyfriend back home with me because they...
You met through the plaintiff?
Yes, ma'am.
And she came to live with you, and you were living with yourself,
myself at the time.
Your 5 children, Triton, and Myra.
Actually, they lived with us first, and then Triton had moved in when he had lost his apartment.
He lost his apartment because he didn't have any
money.
How much money did you give to her over the period of...
Over the course of January through May, I loaned her well over $5,000 via Western Union, which I have receipts right here for every single one.
Now, tell me how it would come about that you gave her this money.
She would call me and like say, you know, I need my bolts are broken on my car, I need to get replaced, or my kids are sick.
Shh, just a second.
My kids are sick, or I'm sick, I need money for food, or you know, I need money for Easter, I need money for car repairs, I need money for my bills, my lights are about to get shut off, my rent's overdue, I'm going to get kicked out of my house, please, honey, help me out.
Please, honey, help me out. And what did you say to her?
Absolutely. I mean, I cared about her and I cared for her children, so I was going to be willing to look out for them. Since we were supposedly dating at the time, I wanted to make sure she was taken care of. So I loaned her the money.
Well, so far I haven't heard anything about a loan, Mr. Carroll. So far I've heard, babe, can you help me out? And you said, I said, sure, because we would, listen to me, Mr. Carroll. Because I said, sure, you know, we were a couple, we were together, I cared for her, you know, and she needed money, so I wanted to help her out.
Well, it was all under the condition. She would also say, you know, I promise I'll pay you back. And Myra here, who was with her almost every single time, she would say, I promise I'll pay you back. And I said, well, I need the money back. And I can't just be giving out all this kind of money and not get it back. And I need some, redemption at one point or another. And she's like, I promise I'll pay you back.
Mr. Carroll, let me tell you something. Don't embellish when you come to court. Because I can hear her saying, honey, I promise I'll pay you back. As soon as I get a job, I promise I'll pay you back. But I don't hear you saying to her, listen, I need some redemption at some point. And that I don't believe. I believe she probably said to you, honey, I promise I'll pay you back. So don't embellish. Because when things don't sound right to my ears, they're usually not true. Right. We understand each other, Mr. Carroll?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She was always asking for money about, well, the twins are sick and I need some money, please, so I can get their medication. Yes, she would use some of the money to get the medication, but she was also using the money to buy illegal drugs.
And later today...
Don't stand there and make excuses. You know, you can't get buying good looks. Beauty fades. We're not. Ladies, beauty fades. Dumb is forever.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Martin Carroll says ex-girlfriend Cynthia Clark owes for unpaid loans to pay bills. Martin's witness, Myra Edwards, claims Cynthia used the money to buy drugs.
Can I see those, please? What did he give you the money for, Miss Clark?
One time he sent it for Easter to help get my kids Easter baskets. My twins got sick and he had sent me money for medication. Another time he'd send me money to go down to see him because I couldn't afford a trip by myself. I wasn't working at the time, and I do have 5 children, and he wanted to see me, so he would send me money to come see him.
Go ahead, let me hear the rest.
He also had sent me money to fix my car, well, to get another car because my car was messed up.
All this money that he was sending you, it came out as a result of you placing a telephone call to him to say, honey, I need money, because otherwise he wouldn't have known. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you called him and asked him for money.
Most of the time he offered it to me, but I would talk to him about the problems, and he would offer it to me. You know, I'm here for you. I love you. I'll do anything for you. If you need the help, you know, I'm here for you. I'll send you the money.
Now, all the time he was saying that to you and you were telling him that you needed money for all these things, Mr. Triton over here, he was living in your house. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And not working because he didn't have any money, which is why he got thrown out of his own house. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Myra, you were living at her house.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you ever present when these phone calls were made asking for money?
Phone calls were made regularly from her to Martin, and she was always asking for money. Well, the twins are sick and I need some money, please, so I can get their medication. Yes, she would use some of the money to get the medication, but she was also using the money to buy illegal drugs.
No, ma'am, Your Honor.
Shh, just a second. Did you ever hear her say to the plaintiff anything about paying back the money?
She would be crying to him on the phone, talking about she would pay him back. And then she'd get off the phone with him, well, he's a sucker because he should know that I'm not going to pay him back.
No, ma'am, Your Honor.
Shh.
That...
How many rooms are in this house?
3 bedrooms.
You had one?
No, ma'am.
Where did you sleep?
On the couch.
No, ma'am, Your Honor. She slept in my bedroom.
Shh, 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 shh. Where did Triton sleep?
In the bed with Cindy.
And when did that start?
Around Valentine's Day, because he got out of jail shortly before Valentine's Day.
What were you in jail for?
Probation violation.
Up here. Probation violation for what?
Failing to do my community service.
Community service on what was the underlying charge? Is not an answer.
Felony gun charges.
Were you sentenced to prison on that charge?
I was sent to a year in Henry County Jail.
So that wasn't your first arrest?
No, ma'am, it wasn't.
Right. Okie dokie. And you got out of jail about Valentine's Day?
Yes, just before.
And moved right back with Miss Clark?
No, ma'am, I didn't move right in with her.
How many days did it take you to move back in with her?
It was more than a few weeks. I had got my own apartment, and then we made an agreement with Myra and her boyfriend that they could move into my apartment since they were sleeping in Cindy's bed.
Now, when she moved out with her boyfriend, where did you move to?
I moved to the air mattress and the living room floor.
You mean you moved out of your apartment where you had a nice, comfortable bed and you slept on the floor? You want me to believe that?
The apartment was a rat's nest.
And that's why she moved in there, because it was a rat's nest.
That's because she didn't want to live there no more.
Miss Clark, I don't believe that there was a contract that was made between you and the plaintiff that I can characterize as a loan. I think that she would call you, ask you for money, you loved her, you gave her the money, because it was your intention that the two of you were going to spend your lives together. That be a fair statement?
I wanted to build a relationship. I don't know how long term, but I wanted to, I was looking out for her and kids, and the only reason I did it, I was on the assumption that she would pay me back. She would always tell me she'd pay me back.
Listen to my question!
Okay.
How did you think she was going to pay you back? With what?
She said,
wampum?
She said when she got a job, she'd start paying me back.
Okay, listen. This is somebody whose business is making babies. She's 27 years old. She has 5 children. She has no money. She relies on the largesse of others. She finally got herself a job. She's got a boyfriend who can't, I was going to say who can't get himself arrested, but that wouldn't be true. So you listen to me very carefully, sir. I don't believe that you had what I would consider a valid contract with her to repay you this money. However, I believe that you're entitled to the money from her because I believe she defrauded you. I believe she led you to believe that you were in a monogamous relationship with her. And based on that monogamous relationship that was working towards something that could have been permanent, she was asking you for money. And I believe that all the time she was asking you for money, she was making a fool out of you with Mr. Triton. So she got that money from you fraudulently, and she has to return it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, I did not fraudulate him.
The whole time we were supposedly together, she was cheating on me with Triton.
I should have told him.
She's a lying, trifling.
I'm just glad it's over.
Just watch your back.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Henry versus Parsons Spurlock Smith. Step forward.
Registered nurse Marianne Henry is suing her son's former friends, 18-year-olds Annie Parsons, Amy Spurlock, and Taylor Smith, for scratching his Honda Civic.
Mrs. Henry, which one of these 2 young men is your son?
Right here in the sport coat. Joshua.
Joshua, you know these 3 young beauties?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you know them?
I went to school with them.
You were on a camping trip with them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Had you ever dated these girls?
No, Your Honor.
Did you ever want to date these girls?
No, Your Honor.
Were you friends?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to your mother's complaint, because you were driving her truck. Is it a truck or a car?
It was a car.
Car. These 3 lovelies decided to pull a little bit of a practical joke, right?
Yes.
Tell me what you did to Miss Henry's car. Well, that was parked at the campgrounds on the 26th of June.
Well, I guess I can tell this part. This whole thing started...
What's your name?
I'm Amy Spurlock.
Go ahead.
Well, it all started because we took Josh's keys because he was really drunk and we didn't know if he was going to drive or we didn't know, so we took him and he was really...
Where did you take his keys from?
My boyfriend took his keys and then I had his keys. I took the keys from my boyfriend.
Why?
Because Josh was saying that he wanted to leave.
Just a second. That doesn't tell me how his tent got on top of his car.
Well, he became upset with us because we wouldn't give him his keys back. We went up to his tent because he went up there, he was mad at us, and he went up and went to bed.
What did you do when you went up to his tent?
We went up to his tent, and just as a joke, because, you know, he always messes with us. You know, when you go to parties, everybody just messes with people, and we were taking, like, the poles out of the tent to make it collapse or whatever as a joke. And then we did that a few times.
So you took the poles out of his tent and it collapsed on him. How many times did you do that?
I would say maybe 3.
Then what happened?
And then he got really upset and he came up because his tent was...
Just a second. What happened when he got upset?
And then he came back to our campsite and was like screaming and punching tents and just going crazy.
So he was angry?
Yes.
And then what happened, Amy?
And then we all went back down there.
Who's we all?
Myself, Annie, Taylor. There was...
You're Taylor?
Yes, ma'am. There was like maybe 3 other people.
Okay.
And we all went down there and he wasn't there and we were looking for him. And I took the poles out of his tent, like all the way out of his tent. And then I was dragging it over to his car and another young man put the tent on top of his car.
Why did you go up looking for him?
Because the place where we were is in the middle of nowhere. The only thing there is a Texaco and a prison. And everyone was joking around that night saying that 2 people had escaped from the prison, which I don't know if that's a true story or not. But that.
Why did you go up looking for him?
Because we were concerned for him. We didn't know where he went because he was mad at us. And we went, honestly, we went looking for him because we were going to be like, you know, Josh, we're sorry.
All right, so now you don't find him. You're looking for him, and you're so concerned because these 2 mass murderers have escaped from prison that you pull the poles out of his tent. How did you think that was going to help find him?
That's not what I was thinking. It was a joke.
No, just a second. But how could you be joking at this point if you're concerned for his safety?
I was angry with him because he had called me names.
Just a second. But then you didn't go up looking for him because you were concerned for his safety. You went up there looking for him because you were angry. Which one is it?
It was pretty much both. I mean...
Get out. Can I see the... Listen, they would know the truth if it came up and slapped them in the face. Can I see the pictures of your car, please?
Yes, ma'am. Here are the pictures of the photos, and I also...
And the estimates to have it fixed.
Ma'am, the estimate came from her body shop that she owns.
I don't give a rat's behind whether it came from her body shop or it came from her nephew's body shop or her husband's body shop. When you do the wrong thing, what happens is you cannot expect to be treated fairly by everybody. You did the wrong thing. Don't stand there and make excuses. You know, you can't get by on good looks. Beauty fades. Ladies, beauty fades. Dumb is forever.
But we're not trying to make excuses. We're just saying that...
You did make an excuse. Put your hand... I'm speaking. You did make an excuse. You said we were concerned. We went up there looking for him because 2 prisoners escaped. Your girlfriend then, because she was so concerned, took the poles out of his tent so that somebody else could drag it over and throw it on his car. Get a life.
But we weren't the only ones there. There were other people there that she's
And this is what you have to do. You have to pay $1,000 to have this car repainted, and if you think somebody else was responsible too, then you can sue them and say, I want to be indemnified for part of the money. But right now, it's your bag. Do you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good! Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000.
Parties are excused. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Bianchi, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours who you claim assaulted you, causing you to injure yourself in your college dormitory.
Correct.
When did this happen?
It was on May 23rd.
Tell me about the incident that caused this injury.
Well, what led up to it, it was really, our relationship was volatile for the past few months, issues with drugs and trying to get off of them. There was a lot of tension, and he was angry with me, I was angry with him. I was pushed down some stairs and hurt.
No. Don't go there yet.
Okay.
He came over to your dorm.
He lived in my dorm. We lived in the same one.
And you're sitting where, in a living room area?
Yes. We were watching a TV show.
Was there anybody else there?
Yes, there was. There was probably 5 people.
And what happened? You're watching television, another 5 people are there.
We had gotten in a little squabble about something and arguing back and forth.
What had you gotten into a squabble about?
I honestly don't remember. It was always something, though. Something...
So you were talking during the television program?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody tell you to be quiet?
No.
Okay. What happened next?
We were both kind of really angry with each other. And then just some like pushing and shoving.
What do you mean pushing and shoving?
What?
Shh. What do you mean pushing and shoving?
Back and forth.
Who started pushing?
It was both at the same time.
So you were pushing each other on the shoulders?
Kind of like back and forth. And then
how did that happen? What do you mean back and forth? Explain that to me.
We were angry with each other, and he had ice also. He was throwing it at me. And after we were done pushing each other, we got up. And then that's when everything started leading to this.
Well, so after you were pushing each other on the couch, then you both got up at the same time?
Yes.
And what happened when you got up?
What happened when we had gotten up was, since we were hitting each other, he wanted to hold me down. He held me down onto the floor. I couldn't move.
Yes.
We got back up. I went after him. Going after him, I still needed to speak with him.
What do you mean you went after him?
Walked after him.
So he went to walk away?
Yes.
He went to leave?
Mm-hmm.
And you went after him?
Yeah,
so his
to
back
speak
is
with
towards
him
you?
about yes.
So his back is towards you. And what happened at that point?
He turned around, and I got pushed across the room.
What?
And into the sunken den. There's 2 stairs, and heard a snap.
And that's when you hurt your leg?
Yes.
And you were on crutches for a while?
Yes.
You lost your job?
Mm-hmm.
And you had expenses?
Yes.
Right? And you want him to pay you $5,000.
Huh?
Okay. Now let me hear your version of these events.
We were sitting down as she said, things were we did argue a lot. That was the extent of it, verbal arguments. And we're sitting down watching a TV show, watching Dawson's Creek season finale. I could give a crap about Dawson's Creek. I had...
Excuse me.
Thank you. I had a 10-page paper due the next day.
I'm not interested in your paper.
I'm sorry, I'm procrastinating, so I got up, and I said, I'm going to go write my paper. And she said, excuse my language, but out of nowhere. And I was like, what? And as soon as I turned around and said, what? She picked up a Starbucks mug and threw it straight at my genitalia. And she had pretty good aim, because I lifted my knee like this and it hit me right in the shin. And getting hit in the shin hurts really bad. It left a knot like about that big around on my shin, about that much inch raised off my shin, bleeding. I was like, ow! And then, sorry, I'm just trying to, it was crazy. So I grabbed her by my arms, and I set her down, I was really stern, and I set her down on the couch, right where she was sitting. Then she got up and threw it. I put her back on the couch. I started walking away, really mad. Started walking towards my dorm, right? She was right about my back being turned towards her. She came, the reason I looked back was because she was screaming. She was like, ah, coming after me, and all I seen was arms flailing like this, and I protected myself, and I blocked her arms, I grabbed her, I wrestled her onto the ground, and it wasn't that hard. I'm state champion wrestler, it wasn't that hard, and so I took her down, held her there, give her time to think and maybe stop. No, as soon as I let her go, she jumped right back to her feet, came right at me again, scratched me. I held her again, put her down to the ground. Her hands got away. She hit me twice in the face, and we stood up. I had Courtney by the arms right here, holding her arms so she couldn't hit me anymore. And I said, you know what, and I said, it's over. I'm done, because I just don't deal with the physical violence. That's not who I am. And she came at me with that, and I told her that's it. And that's when I broke up with her.
Okay, and you pushed her and she fell.
Yeah, she stumbled back. There's a step going into the den. She tripped. She fell on her butt. I can't see how she could have tore a ligament.
She tore a ligament in her leg.
Yeah, so it happened, but it was out of self-defense.
Miss Bianchi, who started the physical stuff, Miss Bianchi?
Who started the physical? It was
Yes.
on both of our parts.
Then you got the worst of the bargain.
But I don't consider the shoving and verbal need for me to be thrown back down some stairs.
Well, sometimes that happens. You said that you were in a physical fight with him. Somebody always is going to get the bad, worse part of the deal. Somebody's always going to end up the loser in a physical fight.
That's what I'm saying, though. It didn't get too physical until he actually had
That's
thrown
not
me.
true. There's no question in my mind that you slapped him, right?
After he had been holding me down, yes.
Well,
it wasn't on the couch that he had set me down.
Let me tell you something. He was holding you down for a reason. What do you think the reason was that he
because
got you
yelling
to the
at
ground and he was holding you down?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think he was holding you down?
Because I was yelling at him close face to face.
No. But you just told me you were fighting with each other. Physically.
Pushing, shoving.
Well, that's what he did. He pushed. That's what he did. You pushed him. He pushed you. You pushed him. He pushed you. You fell. And you hurt yourself. What do you want from the courts?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Courtney Bianchi says ex-boyfriend Nikishna Myron injured her ankle during an assault. Nikishna says Courtney started it by throwing a coffee cup at him.
Go ahead.
I want him to be responsible for his actions because after this had happened, he told me, I'll pay for whatever it cost, that it was his fault.
It wasn't his fault.
He admitted guilt to it, and he offered to pay for the medical bills that would.
Did you offer to pay for the medical bills?
I offered to help. I tried to be a good human being, and we were broken up. I didn't want nothing to do with her, but I knew medical bills were expensive. I said, I'll help.
You'll help pay the medical bills.
And then I
well,
told
then
her,
you agreed to pay for the medical
bills. I said when I could.
He said he would pay for all of them.
And she said, well, and I stopped talking to her over the summer, and she's all, well, when am I going to get the money? I said, well, I got to deal like rent first. You know, I got to survive.
Just a second. So you agreed to pay for, according to you, some of the medical bills.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. That was very generous of you. But if you agreed to pay for it, that's an agreement that you had with her. So you have to pay for some of her medical bills. He doesn't pay for anything else, madam. You want him to pay $5,000. How much were your medical bills?
$15.98 for the emergency room, $70 for x-rays.
And how much of that was reimbursed by insurance?
None.
Why not?
It was because of the way that it happened. I had to be taken to an emergency room. I heard a snap, and I didn't want to wait around to be taken to one of the planned facilities.
So you don't have insurance that covers emergency room treatment?
I do have insurance as long as I go through my provider.
What kind of provider do you have?
Kaiser Permanente.
Did you submit the bill to Kaiser?
Yes. And they sent me back a bill saying this is how much you owe, that they didn't cover it.
Well, then let me see that. Let me see the letter from Kaiser.
That's what they sent me, is the bill. They submitted it from the emergency room, which was Irvine Medical Center, to Kaiser, and Kaiser sent me the bill.
Okay.
For it.
All right, your total medical bills was $1,668. You don't get anything for pain and suffering, you don't get anything for lost wages, you don't get anything for your aggravation, and you get half your medical bills because you are at least half responsible for what happened that day. Just because you enter into an argument that escalates into physical violence with somebody, and even if the somebody happens to be a man, that doesn't mean that if you get the worst end of the deal or the short end of the stick, you get compensated. Quite frankly,
all I'm saying is, because of his past, he says he's not that kind of person. I have a lot of things right here.
I'm not interested in a lot
that he is.
I'm not interested in a lot of things. You didn't tell me about throwing the Starbucks coffee cup at him. How come?
After he held me down?
How come you didn't tell me about throwing the Starbucks coffee cup at him?
I don't know. I'm guessing I'm kind of nervous and I forgot about it.
Right.
Your Honor?
What?
I just don't feel I should pay her anything because I think she's exaggerating this whole thing. It's a big facade. She wasn't that hurt.
She went to the emergency room. I wouldn't ordinarily give her a thing, quite frankly, sir. Listen to me.
Okay.
I wouldn't give her a farthing. But you agreed to help her with her medical bills.
Understand.
And then, after you agreed to help her with her medical bills, you said, well, I got other bills to pay. I got rent that I got to deal with and other things. But you had agreed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So, if it wasn't for that agreement, I wouldn't give her anything. We understand each other?
Understand.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $834. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I have papers right here for his DUI, shoplifting, purchasing airline tickets on stolen credit cards.
2 weeks later, she wasn't even hurt. She was jumping on the bed naked in the dorms in front of thousands of people, enough to hit her head 3 times on the ceiling.
Stay away from drug addicts.
I wouldn't recommend going out with this woman. Stay away.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pettigrew, Ray versus Alexander. Step forward, please.
Daycare provider Denise Ray and her children, 13-year-old Jojuan Pettigrew and 10-year-old Ebony Pettigrew, are suing former friend, 55-year-old school teacher William Alexander, for the return of 2 $1,000 savings bonds.
Ms. Ray, according to your complaint, you've known the defendant for most of your life. Is that right?
Yeah.
He's been sort of a mentor to you and to your family. According to him, he even raised one of your children. Is that right?
No, not necessarily.
Well, what do you mean not necessarily? You had 3 children?
Yes, I did.
An older boy?
Yes.
Did the oldest boy live with you continuously until he reached the age of 18?
No.
Who did he live with?
The defendant.
Right. Well, that's what I said.
Okay.
According to you, there came a time several years ago when you came into some money as a result of a claim because of the earthquake in California. You had a couple of $1,000, and you wanted to put aside some of that money for your children.
Yeah.
So you asked the defendant to get savings bonds for your 3 children.
Yes.
How much money did you give him to get the savings bonds?
$1,500.
$1,500. So you wanted a $500 savings bond for each of your 3 children.
Yes.
Now, one of the children, the oldest child, whose name is?
Edward.
Edward. Did Edward get his bond?
He's here, yes.
Edward?
Yeah.
Did you get your bond?
Yeah.
From Mr. Alexander.
Yeah.
That leaves 2 $500 bonds left.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
That Mr. Alexander is holding for your children. And you want?
The bonds double value, Your Honor, to $1,000.
Well, when did you give him the money?
In 94.
Okay.
August 8th, well, approximately August 8th, 1994.
Where are the bonds, Mr. Alexander?
I have them here, and they were
May
purchased.
I see them, please?
Yes.
Sir. Sir.
Okay. And they were purchased August 11th, 1994.
3 days off.
Well, they are $1,000 bonds.
Yes.
In the names of the children or Mr. Alexander, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Tell me why you want these bonds now. Tell me why you want to hold them for your children.
Because I want no more dealings with Mr. William Alexander. Of course, I know some statements were made in his statement regarding my lifestyle at the time. I'm not in denial anymore. Yes, I had a substance abuse history. But the thing about it, what led up to my substance abuse history was kept hidden in the dark for years.
Was that his fear? And was that your fear? Is that
was
why
my
you
fear.
gave him the money to buy the bonds for the children? Rather than buying them yourself?
No, at the time that we were to purchase the bonds, I didn't have Edward's social security number. The day that we were at the bank purchasing the bonds, I filled out all the original paperwork with my name as payee for these children until they turned 18 for these bonds. Mr. Alexander asked me to let him hold the money and the paperwork until that following Monday. I says, okay, I'll trust you. Come that following week, when I asked Mr. Alexander for the bonds or my money, he told me he wasn't giving them to me.
I assume that you let him hold these bonds all of these years because you trusted him.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You trusted him, and he certainly did everything that he could to live up to that trust because here are the bonds. He hasn't done anything with them. Here they are.
Okay, but Your Honor, it's more to the story than... I don't want no more dealings with Mr. Alexander. Mr. Alexander is...
Don't want any more dealings with Mr. Alexander. Do you have a problem with her holding the bonds for the children?
No, I don't have a problem at all.
Fine. Good.
Okay.
Because she really can't cash them.
No.
Because they are for either of the children or you.
Exactly.
So if she went in to cash the bonds, she could not cash them. These bonds are going to have to sit there until the children reach their majority.
I gave the bonds to her last year when she asked, and she became angry because I wouldn't sign them over. I said, if you want the bonds, you may keep the bonds until the children are 18. It's their money.
Right.
No.
No what?
No, he did not.
Okay, no, just so we don't have a problem anymore.
I want my bonds changed over to their godmother.
No. You can't have that. Period. I'm not doing that. You can hold your children's bonds because that's what you want to do. If you feel as if you have a safe place in your home or if you have a bank vault, you can take the bonds and put them there and wait for your children to reach their majority, and then you give them the bonds, and at that time they should be even worth more than $1,000.
Exactly.
Because it's a while. How old are you?
10.
And you?
13.
13. Well, got a way to go. These are going to be worth a lot more than $1,000.
But I paid for those bonds.
So what? Well, what do you want me to do?
I don't want nothing to do with. I don't want nothing.
You don't have anything to do with
but
them,
his
madam.
name is on them.
You're absolutely right, which means that you cannot cash them. The only thing that means is you cannot cash them. These are for the children. This is what you intended it for. You intended these bonds for the children.
But I didn't intend for his name to be on them, Your Honor.
Well, then don't look at them. Don't look at them. Put them away. And when your children reach the age of 18, you give each of your children a bond. One of the children should have about $2,000.
So they don't need his assistance for anything, right?
No, to do these?
I just
Absolutely
don't want them in my
not.
children's life, period.
Listen to me. All this says is Ebony or William. Means either one of them can sign these bonds, but Ebony can't do it until she's 18.
Okay.
Yes.
And Juwan can't do it until he's 18. Other than that, these are your children's bonds. Perfect. We've just resolved this case. Give her the bonds.
Whatever.
Mr. Alexander, thank you very much.
Out of Yatal versus Safford. Thank you. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Ms. Yatal, you and Mr. Stafford were engaged to be married, and according to your complaint, you were living in a condo that was owned by your mother. And when you moved in, the two of you decided to do some renovations on the condo. Mr. Stafford terminated the engagement rather abruptly, and you claim owes you money for a Home Depot bill that he promised to pay for materials to renovate your mother's condo. Mr. Stafford says that that's ridiculous. Why should he pay to renovate a condo that belongs to your mother? In addition, when he left a whole bunch of stuff there, electronics and things that more than cover the value of this bill. However, he's counterclaiming for that. And in addition, he says that you began a course of conduct that borders on harassment, which he's going to tell me about. When did you move into your mother's condo?
In December of 2004. 2003, I'm sorry.
When did you become engaged?
In February of 2004.
What kind of work did you have to do in the condo?
We didn't have to do anything. We decided to fix, when my mom had decided to get a job in Boston, we fixed up the 2 rooms that were adjoining, which included the master bedroom. We both decided that it would just be nice to make it a little more homey because it would be our home for a few years probably.
What kind of work did you do, Mr. Stafford, in the house?
I replaced the drop ceiling, knocked the wall out, painted both rooms, built a entertainment center into the wall.
You're pretty handy.
None of it got finished.
Well, it's pretty handy even to start it. Now, tell me why you think, Ms. Yatow, that he should pay for this outstanding bill from Home Depot.
Because we made an agreement that it all started with a computer. We each had a computer. One was a laptop, Macintosh, one was an IBM. And we were going to switch because we needed each other's computers. And
why did you need each other?
Because I had a Mac and he records music and it was better for that. And I needed an IBM because I was working on an honors project and the Mac wasn't compatible. But then he moved in, so that kind of faded away. Right. And then his computer ended up crashing. So we decided to buy a new computer, and we put it on a Best Buy credit card, which I paid off when I graduated from college, and I got graduation money. So he told me, we made the agreement that if I paid off for the computer that we both shared, that he would pay for the Home Depot credit card, which was less money than the computer.
When did you buy the computer?
Probably April or May.
Does that sound like the deal that you made with her?
It wasn't to pay off one and pay off the other. We kind of split everything, so it was split everything.
No. Now, when did you leave, Mr. Stafford?
June, July, the end of June, first week of July.
Under what circumstances did you leave?
Not good circumstances, actually. A couple of things had come to light.
I don't want to hear about it. It's not important. Did you have a discussion? Did you?
No.
Well, we had an argument because she cheated on me, and it came.
This isn't true.
It came.
Okay, you had an argument, and?
Yeah, and after I found out, what had been going on, I just took my stuff and left.
Did you take the engagement ring?
Not when I left initially.
You came back to get the engagement ring?
We had conversations about trying to work out the bills and to work out the situation after I left, and she gave it back to me. We had made a second agreement as far as a few of the things that I would get returned. And,
like what?
Air conditioner, futon, GameCube.
You mean all the things that I just told you you could have? Told you to come back and get?
Mr. Yatow, don't interrupt him. Go ahead.
And I was going to get that stuff back and then give her a little bit of money to help her out with various things, nothing.
So did that come about?
I went by the house and I went to pick up the stuff, and the stuff that I was looking for was either not there or in a room that was locked that I didn't go in.
There's no locks on the doors in our
So,
house.
What word didn't you understand about being quiet? How much money were you going to give her?
the Home Depot bill was around like $500 or $600, and I had offered to give her half of that and get some of the stuff back. Most of the stuff that I was getting back was extra. She had another television and another air conditioner, and the futon was
How
extra.
long had you been together at that point, Mr. Stafford?
A little less than a year.
Let's get to the harassment.
As far as after
Unless
the
you want to
agreement,
forget the harassment.
well, after the agreement that we had made, I told her, I said, you got to get everything together for me if you want me to come back and get it. And she never called me back with that we didn't talk for about a month or two. And I just left her alone. She called a couple of times, my parents' house, and looking for me. And it wasn't really until January that it got bad, because I had W-2s and they were actually sent to that address. And she called my house and told my mother that she wasn't going to return them until she got her money. And I never got them.
Why didn't you send them as W-2s?
I asked his mother what to do, and she said, I'll let him know that you called with them, because the minute I received them, I called and said, now, the truth is I could never get a hold of him after we broke up.
Why don't you just send it to his mother?
I just didn't think it was worth it. I haven't opened them. They're still sitting at my house. He never asked me for them. He has my email address. I didn't know what to do with them.
Why didn't you just send them to his mother?
Because she didn't ask me to. She said, I'll let him know that you called.
Go.
So then it was an issue of, before any of this, taking me to court for any type of money, we had been emailing each other to try and figure things out. And at one point in time, the agreements had been put on paper on email. And I noticed I tried to log in.
Do you have a copy of that agreement? I'd like to see it.
I tried to log into my email a couple of times and I couldn't get in. Someone had been breaking into my email. So I had sent Yahoo had sent me a letter saying that someone had been entering
Well,
it.
let me see. Do you have that letter?
Yes, right here. It says the 3 things they needed to do to get into my email account. Emails were being deleted, written.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You even say, I'm going to sell the ring that I'm not giving back to you. Did you do that?
I returned it to the place. They gave me a credit.
Look at my eyes and look at my eyes and tell me exactly what you did.
I did.
Look at my eyes.
And later today.
Is it correct that her car was blocking the alleyway?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
The reason why I did not park on the street is because there's a sign that says no parking on pavement.
I don't care if you park on Pluto.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Andrea Yataw says ex-boyfriend James Safford owes for a credit card bill and unfinished renovations to her mother's home. James says Andrea has been hacking his emails.
You seem to indicate in this email, Mr. Stafford, that the reason that you were offering money to Monsieur Tao is that you didn't want her mother to be out of money. When did her mother give you money?
I had a financial hold on a transcript I was trying to get sent to transferring from one college to another. So she offered to help me out with getting the transcript sent there because it would have affected my enrolling in school for September.
And how much did she give you?
It was $550 something, I think.
Is that right? Yes. Has he returned that money to you?
No, he hasn't.
Well, do you think you should return that to her?
Yeah, one of the things that I had mentioned about returning the money to her mother when we had a conversation was that it initially was agreed that it was not to be returned. And it wasn't changed until our agreement changed, until things changed with us. Everything all of a sudden changed, and now I want money for this, I want money for that.
Well, I mean, you can understand that, Mr. Stafford, because when her mother gave you the money, she thought you and her daughter were building a future together. And she said, I don't want your future to suffer. I mean, I assume that's common sense. I don't want your future to suffer because you can't get these transcripts released. I'm going to give you the money that you need to do it, right? But it seems that in your emails, you suggest that you are taking on and assuming that obligation. Mm-hmm. And you even say, I'm going to sell the ring that I'm not giving back to you. Did you do that?
No, I returned it to the place. They gave me a credit.
Look at my eyes and look at my eyes and tell me exactly what you did.
I did.
Look at my eyes.
I returned it for credit, which I actually gave to my mom, and my mother used it to buy something for herself. I couldn't use anything.
What was the credit for the ring?
It was like $2,500.
All right. You plan on giving Monsieur Tao back the $500 so that she can give it to her mother?
For the money I was given for school should be.
Fine. Now, I still haven't figured out what this terrible harassment is and how you relate it to Monsieur Tao.
It was basically the email hacking. I have the 4 dates that Yahoo gave me. Emails were deleted and sent to people, and Yahoo gave me 4 dates, and I addressed
Other
her
than
for
the fact that you believe Miss Yatel has had the opportunity and inclination to do that, do you have any proof that it was, in fact, she who did it?
They wouldn't give me anything in writing unless I had a court order.
So the answer is no. Other than the fact that she had the opportunity, inclination, and probably did it, you don't have any proof that she did it.
Right.
You're going to give her back the $500? She's going to probably give it to her mother. This has nothing to do with the Home Depot bill. Home Depot bill is yours. You got your place. What?
When he moved in those
You know,
rooms,
just a
did
second. You want to speak to me? Stand up here. You don't want your money?
I have.
You
just
don't
a
want.
pro-
I'm
yes,
asking
I
you. Do you want your money or not?
Yes.
If this money is given to you, it's given to you so that we can, in the nature of judicial expediency, so that you're not in a position to ever sue him.
Right.
Again, this is the money that he took from you in order to get his transcripts released, which he acknowledges here that he intends to pay you for.
He intended to pay me for the Home Depot credit card. That's also one of the emails.
No, my dear. Maybe he's not swift, but I am. The agreement with him was that the two of you were going to share this new computer.
But he took my
I'm speaking! You purchased it, and the agreement was that he was going to pay one bill, according to you, and you were going to pay this bill. You paid the bill for your computer, and you kept the computer. Now, if he agreed to pay the Home Depot bill and your mother wants to give him the condo, that's fine.
The repairs didn't need to be made.
They didn't need to be made.
He convinced us to do them and then said, I will pay for it. It
Grow
wasn't
up.
even, it's
Miss
not even...
Yatel, grow up. Do you
ripped-
want your money or not?
I
The
do.
answer is simple.
No, but he ripped a, he made repairs and he ripped a wall out and left it that way. It was
I had to
exposed.
pay to get
we
that
had to pay to get it
fixed
fixed.
Then you made a mistake in judgment by saying,
No,
go ahead and do it. Then you made a mistake in judgment.
I did.
Good.
I said I'd marry.
Well, then you learn from it and you go on. But not every mistake in your judgment is a court case.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Andrea Yatta says ex-boyfriend James Safford owes for a credit card bill and unfinished renovations to her mother's home. James says Andrea has been hacking his emails.
Sometimes you make a mistake in judgment and you just have to say,
What about
I'm not going to do this again.
What about the ring that was my property?
No, it wasn't. It was an engagement ring. It was
It's a
not your
gift.
property.
I didn't break the engagement. He
doesn't make any difference
It
who
does.
broke
It's a
the
breach of
engagement.
promise.
Miss Yattau, it does not. It does not. The ring, an engagement ring, is given in contemplation of getting married. Last I heard, the two of you did not get married. I mean, if the engagement was broken, rather than having a bad marriage, that's a good thing.
Oh, yes, of
That's a
course.
good thing.
Thank God.
So
but-
the ring does not belong to you until after you say, I do. But if your mother wants her money back, then the two of you can go on your respective life's paths without ever having to come into contact with each other again. I'm going to give her back her money, and you're prepared to do that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500. That's what. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He never gave me a reason for leaving. Now he says I cheated on him. That's not true.
Someone cheats on you and then sends you emails that says they cheated on you. And they're right here, but I guess I just didn't need them to show the judge.
His girlfriend gave me a nice, emailed me and said that I was hacking into the email and that I was deleting emails necessary for court and that I was crazy.
It was kind of getting ridiculous. Someone was changing his password 3 times and the only emails missing were the ones that she had sent him in correspondence.
She thinks that I've been chasing him around clubs and bars. I've seen him once since we broke up.
Every time going out places, her coming up to him and as soon as seeing him with me, leaving at bars and stuff. Thank God it's over.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sheffield versus Mesa. Step forward, please.
Mediator Nicole Sheffield is suing ballet teacher Antonio Mesa for damaging her car when he pushed it with his vehicle. Antonio claims Nicole was blocking his alleyway.
Miss Sheffield, it is your claim that the defendant damaged your car.
Yes, ma'am.
He damaged your car after you had parked it in an alleyway.
That is correct.
Looking at that diagram, which car is yours?
I'm assuming...
Why don't you show me, Mr. Mesa, which car was hers?
Right here, ma'am. This one.
The red one or the blue one?
The red one.
Is that a single lane alleyway?
Oh, yes.
And your house is there? Okay.
It's the only way. All right.
I'm a smart woman, Mr. Mesa.
Okay.
I got it.
I know.
Mr. Mesa pushed your car.
That is my understanding, yes, ma'am.
You weren't there?
No, ma'am. I was inside the school that's a block away.
The Forest Park Elementary School.
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
What were you doing there?
Picking up my stepdaughter from school.
How dare you park in an alleyway like that?
That was the only place to park during that time. There were other vehicles parked around the school and on the street.
You parked in a situation where he couldn't get out of his house and nobody else behind your car could get out of their house if they had to in an emergency.
I was anticipating not being in the school for a very long period of time.
But you were in the school for a long period of time.
I happened to be in the school for approximately 15, 20 minutes.
Well, that's too long, Miss Sheffield. What would you have this man do? He came out of his house. He had a, according to him, you're a
Yeah.
musician.
No, I'm a ballet teacher.
A ballet teacher.
instructor.
And you had students
Yes.
that you were going to meet.
Yes, ma'am.
And you came out of your house and you saw the car blocking the alleyway.
Wait, 10 minutes.
Just a second. You're her witness?
Yes, ma'am.
Stand up, sir. And according to her, you're a peace officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you know her from before this incident?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Is it correct that her car was blocking the alleyway?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
That's outrageous, isn't it, sir?
It's a ticket fence.
It's outrageous.
Yes, ma'am.
What would happen if there was a child in one of those houses that required an ambulance, otherwise they were going to die in 5 minutes?
They would be trapped.
Right. So what do you think a court should do for her?
I explained to her that she would probably end up getting a ticket for parking in that alley. However, he did use his vehicle to push her car, physically push it out.
Pushed. He
Yes.
took his car after he waited, according to him, for how many minutes, sir?
10 minutes. 10, at least 10.
And you honked the horn?
Yes, ma'am.
He did honk the horn?
Yes, ma'am, that's what caught my attention.
And he waited?
Yes, ma'am.
And he waited?
Yes, ma'am.
And she didn't come out?
She did not come out.
And he pushed her car?
He got out of his vehicle after laying on the horn. I was unsure of what was going on. I thought it was a car alarm. I had pulled over, and I had my children from school as well. I had
So
pulled
you were,
over.
just a second. So you were off duty?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had your children in the car?
Yes, ma'am.
From the same Forest Park Elementary School?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you get your children from the school?
I sat in line and picked them up.
Sat in line?
Yes, ma'am.
In your car?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what most of the parents do?
Some of them, yes.
And what do the other ones do?
They park in the area.
They park what?
They park in the area and walk up to pick up their children.
Was this the only car parked in the alley?
That was the only car parked in that alley. Yes, ma'am.
May I say something, Judge Judy?
Sure, Ms. Sheffield. You understand I'm not sympathetic with you.
I do understand that at this point. But the reason why I did not park on the street is because I do have a picture. There's a sign that says no parking on pavement.
Listen, I don't care if you park on Pluto. Everyone who drives a car has been in a situation where somebody who is discourteous, like you are, and not thinking about other people, only about themselves, and only about their needs, and not the needs of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 people who might have an emergency. You had no emergency.
No, ma'am. It wasn't an emergency.
No emergency. But about the people who might have an emergency there, a medical emergency, a physical emergency, you didn't think about anybody else. The only thought you had was your needs. This man didn't ram your car. He didn't flatten your tires. He didn't smash your windshield. He said, I waited 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm pushing this car out of the way, and I have to get to my students. And if your car was damaged, deal with it. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out. In the matter of Ramos versus Lowry. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Ramos, Mr. Lowry is your former boyfriend. You also have a child together.
Yes.
Your claim is that he owes you for some child support and also for some old loans before you separated.
Yes.
Mr. Lowry says that he doesn't owe you anything and you should really just move on. So I have some questions for you, because I do have a question about this back child support. According to your complaint, you had made an arrangement with Mr. Lowry, and he was paying a certain amount in child support. How much were you paying, sir?
For the first, I believe it was 2 months or 3 months, it was $800. That was for child support and whatever I owed her, and
Whatever you owed her for what?
for the phone bill, that was pretty much it. And then I dropped it down to $600, and then I was gonna lose my job
Why were you losing your job?
because I was relocating.
So it was voluntary. You weren't going to lose your job. You were quitting.
Yeah.
Why were you hesitating? I mean,
Well,
I want to know
because,
whether you got let go, or either you were fired, the company went out of business, or you decided that you wanted another career opportunity.
I would just work, exactly. I wanted another career opportunity.
What kind of work had you been doing?
Sales.
Okay. Then what kind of job were you going to?
Sales.
Same job, different jurisdiction?
Exactly.
Okay. How long were you out of work?
2.5 months.
Why were you out of work so long?
Because I was getting everything situated down here so I could move up to Vegas and whatnot, and so...
Well, just a second. I don't understand, sir. Why did it take you 2.5 months to do that?
Things were going on with the company that I was working for that was hurting me, so I voluntarily left that job.
How was it voluntarily hurting you?
It wasn't the job for me, pretty much, you know, so I stopped working there.
So you stopped working
Yes.
voluntarily. Now, at the time you stopped working voluntarily for these 2 months, how much had you been immediately preceding that giving Miss Ramos for your son?
I was giving her up to $600 a month.
How much?
$475 right before he
1 month before.
Oh, it's fine. This is going to work to your favor.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
exactly.
I wouldn't argue with her.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying I
Fine.
knew I was going to lose my job. Then I had asked her, look, instead of taking Dominic to the babysitter, since I'm not going to be working, I'll be able to help you out a lot more during the daytime while she's working, take care of my son, see him every day.
No, Mr. Lowry. That's all very nice. You have responsibility. You can't take
Exactly.
you can't take a 2-month vacation from your job.
I wasn't
You can't.
taking
Yes, you were. You would take a 2-month vacation. All right. And then what happened is you went to the family court, and you got a support order against Mr. Lowry, and they said for the 2 months that he didn't give you any money. Go
It was a little more than 2 months, I'm sorry.
How many months?
It was from April to August.
He didn't give you any money in April?
No money April, no money May, no money June, no money July, no money August.
5 months. Well, what took you 5 months?
Well, I was asking her if I could, instead of giving her $600 or $475 a month, since I'm not working, can I work it out some other way? Like taking care of him instead of having the babysitter take care of him?
You already said that, and I already said to you, that was the 2 months that you weren't working, Mr. Lowry.
Yeah, but it wasn't allowed to me.
Shh, listen to me. She was right. You don't take a vacation for 2 months and say, I'll babysit. Child has a routine. Child goes to a babysitter, goes to a daycare facility, goes to something else. As a parent, you could do that. You can take 2 months off. I don't care if you take off from today until next Tisha B'Av.
Exactly.
As long as you don't have children to support. When you have children to support, you don't say, I'm going to take a 2-month vacation.
And I wanted to support my child.
Then you
I
shouldn't have
wanted
quit
to
your
do
job.
it
Listen to me.
physically.
Then you shouldn't have quit your job. Then you support. And you visit on weekends. Go when
I
you're on
wanted
vacation.
to do it every day during
That's
work.
too bad. That's what comes under the category of too bad. What I want to know is, once you got to Las Vegas and you started to work, because you said you were only out of work 2.5 months, why didn't you start to send her money?
Well, I've just started working in Las Vegas September 23rd.
You said you were only out of work 2.5 months. She says you didn't pay her for 5 months.
Okay, I'd asked her, look, you know what, is there any way that we could work on this? So instead of paying you the money, can I take care of my son?
I've already addressed that, sir. I asked
know,
you
and
what happened when you went to work in Las Vegas. Why didn't you send her
It just
the money?
started. I just started in Las Vegas September 23rd.
She says there was 5-month period when you didn't send her child support, Mr. Lowry.
I was trying to
Are we
get
not
to that, but
understanding
you're
English?
interrupting me. I was trying to get to that, but you're not letting me finish.
I've gotten past babysitting for 2 months. Why didn't you send her money for 5 months?
I was trying to get to that.
Get to it.
I had asked her if I could please kind of do something else other than the money situation, because I wasn't going to have the money to support the child. I was volunteering to help any way that I could possibly do it. She didn't accept it. So I told her, if you want to do it by yourself, do it by yourself. If I have no say-so in the matter, do it by yourself. I'm still his dad, right? I'm still my father, I mean, my baby's dad. I believe if I'm not
what you're
working...
explaining to me, sir, because she refused your gracious offer to quit your job and babysit during the day for 2 months while you were making this transition, you didn't pay her support for the 5 months until she took you to court. Is that what you're telling me?
I didn't talk to her, yeah. I didn't talk to her for 5 months after that. Because I had told her if she wants to do it by herself, then
Larry,
she could
I don't
do
want
it
to hear
by
you anymore.
herself.
I don't want to hear you anymore. Sales is perfect for you. Maybe some people buy it. Not in this pew.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I think this is much too complicated for you.
Try me.
Try it? Well, let's give it a try.
And later today,
I'd never keep my money in the bank, I promise.
Where did you put your check every week?
At the bank, at my bank.
You see how you're getting to be tripping over your tie there, sir?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Elizabeth Ramos says ex-boyfriend Chad Lowry owes for unpaid child support. Chad says he's been in between jobs.
You think that your $475 a month covers a child's expenses?
That's why I was giving her 800, 600.
No, you stopped giving her 800, 600.
And then it broke, yeah, because I couldn't afford it, that's why.
Listen to me. I don't give a rat's behind what you can afford. What I asked you was, do you think $475 a month covers a child's expenses?
No.
Food, clothing, medical, insurance, rent, daycare, babysitting while she works. You think?
I'm well aware of that.
You think that it covers that?
No.
No, of course not. So what you were doing was paying a portion.
Ask her what she was paying.
I'm speaking. She was working. You told me that you wanted to babysit while she was working instead of taking the child to the babysitter, right? That's what you just told me. She wasn't quitting her job.
Exactly.
Let me put it to you this way.
Exactly.
Let me put it to you this way, sir. Let us say this. I think this is much too complicated for you.
Try me.
Well, let's give it a try. Let's say Miss Ramos has a child with you, and she's a working lady, and a court fixes a support order for you, says, listen, this is what the child's needs are. Child needs $800 a month. She can afford from her job to pay $400, and you can afford from your job to pay $400. That's fair?
Mm-hmm.
Court makes an order, you've got to pay $400 a month. A couple of years go by, Miss Ramos decides to get married, and she has a new baby. And she says, I'm not working with this new baby. I want to stay home for a while, for a year or two, and mother this new baby. So, Mr. Lowry, she goes back to court. And the judge said, well, your baby still has $800 worth of needs. So now, Mr. Lowry, you have to pay $800 a month because she decided to stop working. How do you think you wouldn't like that?
I wouldn't.
No. Well, that's what you did.
But
you said,
never a
I'm
court
not
order.
working. I'm decided I'm not going to work for the next few months. So I'll take up the slack. You keep working.
Any which way I know how to.
Please, you know.
If I don't have no money, what else
as
can I
I said,
do?
sales is wonderful for you. Miss Ramos, you haven't said much. But let me tell you this. You've also got a lot of other things. You've also got a lot of other claims here against him that I'm not even hearing because they're nonsense. Something that you were going to buy him for his birthday, you broke up, he said, I want it anyway, and I'll pay for it, a phone bill. I'm not interested in all that stuff. I'm interested in the child support. That's the big thing. And on the child support, he owes you a whole bunch of money. $2,115 is what he owes you for the child support when he voluntarily left his employment, which in my judgment he cannot do when he has responsibilities. I am only surprised that the family court, when they fixed his child support obligation, did not also fix an amount in arrears, because they should have. If they did not, I am prepared to do that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,115. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It's extremely hard having to look a 2-year-old in the eyes and not have their father there.
I tried to do the best that I could possibly do.
Not have the child support there.
I mean, I still don't believe that about the child support issue.
And why? Because he wants to take a vacation?
I wasn't taking a vacation.
That's not fair.
I had left one job to go to another job.
This is not going to hinder his relationship with his son.
I'll be there as much as I could possibly be there for my son.
Him to be happy and me to be happy.
All parties in the matter of Carino versus Bryson, step forward, please.
Dental office manager Regina Carino is suing her ex-fiancé, electrician Ryan Bryson, for house payments. Ryan is countersuing, claiming Regina stole property from the home after they broke up.
The background of this case is simple, even though pretty stupid on your parts. You were engaged and you decided to buy a house together. So clearly you don't pay attention to what I say. You don't buy anything jointly. A car, a house, a boat, a trailer, a truck, and anything, unless you're married, right? Okay. Your problem is that after you bought this house, the relationship went south, and shortly after you moved out, he stopped paying the mortgage. You paid the mortgage, according to you, for how many months?
From November till March.
November, December, January, February, March, the house was sold.
Yes.
So you paid it for 4 months or 5?
5.
5 months. You made the mortgage payment for 5 months, and when you sold the house, there was a profit, and the profit was $8,000. So each of you took $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
And what you want is, you want him to give you back the money that you spent on the mortgage when you weren't living there.
Yes, ma'am.
Which amounts to how much?
Just for the mortgage alone, totals up to $3,109.68.
What were the mortgage payments each month?
They varied depending. I was waiting on the defendant to make the payment, which some months it were different because it added a late fee.
I see. And then you say that he purchased some electronic equipment on a credit card that both of you had?
Yeah, it was in both our names. It was
Also,
after we separated.
Dumb, stupid. You don't pay attention. You don't listen. You don't get a credit card with somebody jointly if you're not married. Even when you're married, sometimes it's stupid. But for sure, when you're not married, it's stupid to have a joint credit card.
Yes.
And you say that electronic equipment was bought for the house?
It was actually for his vehicle. And I didn't find out
for his
until I got the
car?
bill. Yes.
For his car?
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't pay the credit card bill off?
No, I'm still paying on it.
Well, that's what happens when you take out a joint credit card. So I'm going to deal with the mortgage payments only. Now, you have a cross-claim, and your cross-claim is that she and or her boyfriend broke into the house when you weren't there and stole electronic equipment. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Furniture also.
What proof do you have that they stole this equipment?
I have my witness was going to come, but he couldn't come, Your Honor, because
Well, then what proof?
I can give you his number. You can call him.
I don't do that.
I got proof that I have pictures of my furniture.
Listen to me.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
proof do you have that the plaintiff and her boyfriend broke into your house to present to me today? If you have none, I will dismiss your case without prejudice. You can go file it again if you have proof. But without a witness, since you weren't home, you were in Florida, according to you, I can't make a determination that anybody committed a felony. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So let's stay with this house payment. Now, let us assume that she made and that she has records for $3,109 worth of mortgage payments that she made when she wasn't living in the house. You were living in the house. According to you, you fell on bad financial times.
No, ma'am.
Well, that's what you say in your answer.
Yes, ma'am. I did.
Well, then why say no? Is it no or is it yes?
It's yes. The very last month, I did not pay her because we were receiving a settlement from the closure of the house, and I said you can just take it out of that. But the other 4 months, I did pay, Your Honor.
Show me.
I gave her straight cash, and she doesn't give me receipts or anything like that. I gave her straight cash on.
Mr. Brightson, show me bank accounts where you took out the cash from the bank account to give her.
It was all on trust, Your Honor.
No, you don't trust. A bank doesn't trust, sir. A bank doesn't trust. You said
We were still good
listen,
friends.
Listen to me. You said that you gave her the money for the mortgage payment in cash every month.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have a receipt.
No, ma'am.
Now, you're not living together. You're not together. So the smart thing would have been either you write a check or you get a money order so you have some sort of a receipt. But okay.
We were friends.
Up.
Sorry.
So I said to you, well, if you didn't have a check or a money order, show me your bank statement where you withdrew money from your bank every month to give her in cash.
Didn't, Your Honor.
You didn't. You kept it under the mattress. You accumulated the money
Yes,
every
ma'am,
month
I never
under the
kept my
mattress.
money in my bank
Do
account.
you know that I don't believe you, sir?
I'd never keep my money in the bank. I
No,
promise.
you never keep the money in the bank. What do you do for a living?
I'm an electrician.
You paid in cash?
Yes, ma'am.
When's the last time you filed tax returns?
Last year,
What did you say you earned last year?
32 grand.
And were you working for yourself or were you working for somebody else?
Working for a company.
What's the name of the company?
Electric.
And Electric paid you in cash?
No, ma'am.
Electric paid you by check.
Yes, ma'am.
So if Electric paid you by check, where did you put your check every week?
I went and cashed it and I put it in my pocket.
Where did you cash it?
At the bank, at my bank.
You see how you're getting to be tripping over your tie there, sir? So you have a bank.
Yes, ma'am. But I don't put money in the bank. I use it to cash my check.
They don't cash your check, sir, unless you keep money in the bank.
$5.
Do you know that he honestly believes he's smarter than I am? Something happens to your brain, I think, when you have all that work done.
He just don't know you very well.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I don't believe you.
Okay.
Because according to your answer, I'm going to read you what you wrote, but you probably forgot because you're not so smart. And what you swore to. My roommate got laid off and my income wasn't enough to cover the bills, so I told Regina I was going to have to file for bankruptcy because I couldn't afford to pay off my debt. Regina didn't want the house to go into foreclosure, so she decided she would pay the mortgage.
For the
That's
one
what you
month.
said.
For the one
That's
month,
what
the
you-
very last month.
No,
And
sir.
I was going to file bankruptcy on my credit cards.
Listen to me, sir. A house doesn't go into foreclosure in 1 month.
She was just running her
Listen to
mouth.
me.
Just
Listen to me.
exaggerating.
Listen to me. A house doesn't go into foreclosure in 1 month. You just told me a moment ago, I have a very good memory, Mr. Brightson. You just told her, well, take it out for the 1 month because we were closing in 1 month on the sale. And I'm telling you that a house doesn't go into foreclosure in 1 month, especially when you have a sale. So I believe her that she paid the mortgage from November when you say you fell on hard times and your roommate lost his job and you couldn't afford to pay all of your bills. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,109. But, Ms. Carino, I want you to listen to me very carefully.
Yes, ma'am.
You should have taken care of all of this business when you closed on the house. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
What state do you live in?
Virginia.
Do you have attorneys when you close on property, or do you do that yourselves?
We did have an attorney at the time.
You had one lawyer? Did you raise the issue of the fact that he owed you money with your lawyer?
Yes, he wasn't going to have it. So
He wasn't going to have it.
Yeah, he didn't want me to get my share.
He's a loser. Forget about it. You're much better off. Got it?
Yeah, got it.
Thank you.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Parties are excused. You may, Mrs. Jenkins. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
All right, this is a pretty tangled web of family. You're Miss Jenkins.
No, I'm Miss Taylor.
Your first name is?
Sylvia.
You are?
Teresa.
How old are you, Teresa?
23.
And you?
42.
Teresa, you used to live with the defendant, is that right?
Yes.
She's your aunt.
Yes, she is.
And she's your sister.
Yes.
So your daughter lived with your sister for many years.
Yes.
How many years?
12.
No, 13.
13, because of neglect on your mother's part. Your aunt raised you, is that right?
Yes.
And there is another sister who has a daughter whose name is?
Chantel.
And you are Chantel's, or were Chantel's legal guardian.
Well, I am still her legal guardian until I go to court.
Okay. Technically, but she no longer lives with you.
Right.
According to your complaint, Chantel came to your house complaining about the treatment at your sister's house.
Yes.
You took her in.
Yes.
Your sister, the defendant, filed a complaint, according to you, that you had kidnapped this child.
Yes.
So your lawsuit is about that charge of kidnapping. And you say that your aunt kept some of your property after you left her home.
No.
In what? Shh, don't answer. In what year was that?
I left her home in 2000.
So 2 years ago.
Yes.
What took you so long?
Because she said she couldn't find the key, or the car was in the way, or there was always some excuse.
So what do you say your aunt has in the house?
Well, I have a list of the stuff, but...
Like what?
She has my awards, diplomas, trophies.
Okay.
Clothes.
Do you have any of that stuff?
No, I do not.
Where is it?
When Teresa was living with me, Teresa moved around 3 times. She done lived with her mother 3 times. She lived on...
Do you have any of her property?
I took her property to her. I took 3 big boxes and a suitcase.
Do you have any of her property?
No.
Did you dispose of any of her property?
No.
Okay. And that was as of 2 years ago?
No, I just took Teresa things.
2 years ago, she hadn't lived with you. She's 23 years old. She had plenty of time to come and get her stuff.
I just
All
took
right,
her
I'm not
things
interested in your
February
property.
of this year.
I'm interested in these charges.
Okay.
Now, did she file charges against you, too, for kidnapping, or just against your mother?
It was against the both of us.
Okay. Let me see the charges that she filed against you. How old is this young niece of yours?
14.
Where is she living now?
She's living in a foster home in Norwalk.
Okay. Tell me how Chantel came to be at your house.
Okay, she was calling from time to time, like we would call to the house to talk to her, and Mary would let her get on the phone and then tell her to tell us.
How did she come to your house?
She just came over. She said she wouldn't.
What date did she come over?
The 3rd.
Of what month?
Of October.
You didn't go pick her up?
No.
She came to your house after school?
No, it was during school hours.
Were you expecting her?
No.
You knew that your sister had guardianship of her?
Yes.
How long did she stay in your house?
Overnight.
Was that with her permission?
DCFS said let her stay.
Where does it say that she says you kidnapped this child?
On the back.
You mean you're talking about this one line where she says that you went to Chantel's school to pick up Chantel without my permission?
Yes, and when the police officers came to the house, when she called them,
Yeah.
That's what they told us.
That's kidnapping?
Pardon?
Were you arrested for kidnapping?
No.
So what are you here for?
My name was brought up in the claim. So
Okay, fine. So your name was brought up in the claim. She also says on September 28th, Teresa was at her house making allegations that Maisha Jenkins gave her number to some guys who were in jail and stopped giving her number out. Who's Maisha?
Maisha is Chantel's sister.
What is that about?
Teresa had a phone in my house at one time when she was living with me. And Teresa just moved out this year. It's not 2001, it's 2002. She just moved out. And when she had a phone transferred to her mother, the number was changed.
So?
Teresa was calling my house saying that Maisha has gave her number out.
Does Chantel's sister live with you too?
Yes, she does.
So you have guardianship of both girls, and Maisha still lives with you?
Yes.
How old is Maisha?
Maisha just turned 19.
Well, she's an adult now. How long has she been living with you?
12, I guess, 12 years.
Okay, so let me hear more about this phone problem.
Okay, Teresa had called my house and she was cussing, saying that if Maisha don't stop calling her house, she's going to call the D police on her. Okay.
What's that about?
No, I called over and I told her, could she tell Maisha to quit giving my number out? Because these people was making remarks to me, and my fiance had answered the phone, and he was getting upset. So I called Auntie Mary and was leaving a message telling her, can you tell Maisha not to give my number out anymore? If so, then I'm going to call the police. And she picked up the phone.
Just a minute. Giving your number out to whom?
To people in prison in Twin Towers Jail.
Were these people who were calling you?
Yes.
Were they were people that you knew?
No, they weren't.
Well, I don't know why else.
No, he called my phone number at my mother's house.
Yes.
And he asked for me and said what his name was. I asked him, who was he? Where did I know you from? And he said, this is Maisha's friend. I said, well, don't call my house number. What are you calling me for? Well, Maisha said that you easy for me to hit when I get out. I hung up the phone. That evening when I got in, I called Auntie Mary and I told her to tell Maisha quit giving my number out. And then she started going off on me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell me what she said to you and what you said to her.
She said, "Dee, don't call my house no more. If you do, then I'm going to come over there and blow up the house." I said, whatever, Auntie Mary, and I hung up the phone.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Teresa Taylor and her mother, Sylvia Jenkins, claim Sylvia's sister, Mary Jenkins, filed false charges with police. Mary is accusing her sister and niece of doing the same thing.
I'm not getting involved in this. You have no lawsuit. Your complaint is you were falsely accused of kidnapping when you took your niece into your home. That's what it says. You were not arrested. You were not incarcerated. You were at most questioned by the authorities and said, what is she doing here? You suffered no damage as a result of your sister saying that you had her without permission.
I'm not suing her.
Who's suing her?
She's suing me. I'm suing her. I'm wanting my property.
Excuse me, Judge, I'm
reading the complaint that the two of you
maybe
filed.
this might make it a little bit clearer. This paper right here will explain why that allegation came up. All right, see, I wound up going to prison for a violation of a probation. Mary was aware that I was on parole when this incident happened with my niece. She called the police feeling that if she could say that I kidnapped the child, that they would have arrested me.
But
that was
nobody
Mary's
arrested
intention.
you.
But they didn't.
So?
I know, so I'm saying, why is she suing me?
Listen to me. You're the plaintiffs in this case. You signed it. Would you show these two ladies the complaint that they signed?
Just Judy.
Okay. Did you sign that?
Yes, it is my signature.
Show that you signed it. That says you're a plaintiff. You're suing your sister for filing false charges against you. And your daughter is suing her for the same thing. And in addition, your daughter is suing her for property. Is that what that says?
For false charges, that's what she was countersuing us for false charges, not us. All I said is I want to get my property and the money that she owed me.
Because
I care less about the charges. She's the one got locked up for them charges, so I don't care.
False allegations.
It was not too false. You got locked up for it.
When we refused, she called the police and told them that we had kidnapped her daughter. These were false charges. And I have a complaint here that says that you are suing for harassment and damages due to false allegations. And return... No, you. I have a counterclaim by her for the same thing, for punitive damages due to false charges. So you're not suing her for false charges?
No.
Fine. Fine. And I've already resolved the issue with property, so now you have nothing that you're suing her for. All right. Now, let's get to you. You have a counterclaim. For what?
I have a counterclaim for false arrestment. On the 2nd of October is when Chantel left the school.
Okay.
On the 3rd of October, that's when Sylvia and Teresa took Chantel to Children's Services because the lady let her stay overnight at their house.
What are your false charges about?
My false charges is the fact that on October the 2nd is when the incident begun with Chantel, and I was at home October the 6th looking at TV, and I had got my doorbell ring. I asked who it was, and they said it was the police. So I opened the door, and they said, "Is there any problem going on here?" I said, "No, there's not." He said, "May I come in?" I said, "Yes." So I opened the door because there was no problem. He came in and he was telling me that they had got a call saying that I was harassing someone and that I had threatened to do bodily damage.
To whom? At
that time, he would not tell me. So he told me with some papers he needed me to sign outside. I went outside with him. When I went outside, one officer grabbed my left hand, the other one grabbed my right arm. And I did kind of resist, and then I felt them tight. I said, "Oh, wait up, you can just put the handcuffs on me because I have no reason to resist you." I said, "Why are you arresting me?" And they said that I was being arrested for a criminal threat.
Can I see the complaint, please?
This is everything. My release form is in there, too. So I was arrested on the 6th of October, and I stayed in there until the 8th when they took me to court. I missed that day of work. And when they released me, they just gave me the paper, a certificate of release.
I don't see the complaint.
On the front, it says criminal threat.
No, there is usually a complaint that forms the basis of an arrest.
Well, that's all that they gave.
That says who the complainant is. Did you make a complaint against her?
I did.
For what?
Because she had called the house and she was threatening. And she kept calling back, and I kept telling her, "Don't call no more." And so I called the police.
When did she call you?
When did she call? She called on the 5th of October. That was a Saturday.
You answered the phone?
Yes. On the 5th of October, I had called her to tell Maisha to quit giving my number out.
So you called her first?
I called her first, yes. After that, she was like, "Don't call my house no more." I hung up the phone. I went to my mom. My team was cussing me out. Then she called right back like 10 minutes later, and she was like...
Now, when she called back 10 minutes later...
When she called back 10 minutes...
Pay attention. I'm asking the questions. Do you understand?
Okay.
So first you called her. And you told her that Maisha better not be giving your phone number out to any other of these prisoners. And you had whatever words you had with your aunt who raised you. Then she called you back 10 minutes later, and you answered the phone. And I want you to tell me what she said to you and what you said to her.
She said, "B..."
Look at me.
I'm looking at you. She said, "B, don't call my house no more. If you do, then I'm going to come over there and blow up the house." I said, "Whatever, Auntie Mary," and I hung up the phone. And I went and told my mother. She told me to block the number. I went to block the number, and I pushed talk on my phone. The phone, when I picked it up to get ready to dial the number, she was on the phone, and it said pay phone on there. So she called from a pay phone, and then she said, "B, I'm on my way. I'm getting ready to come and blow up the house and the car with y'all in it." Her exact words, and I called the police right afterwards. Because then a car started driving by, so I said, "Mama, I don't know what Auntie Mary's trying to pull, but we need to call the police." My mother called the police, and she spoke with the supervisor, and she got arrested the next day.
Okay. October the 5th, Teresa called, messing on the phone. I went to 108 police station to make a report of the threats that she was making on the phone. Okay?
Well, what did she say to you?
Well, she mainly was making it directly to Maisha, saying if that B don't quit calling my house, I'm going to come over there and I'm going to kick her A. That's what she said. And I told her she wasn't coming over and create no problems at my house. So I went to the police station on 108th and Main.
Did you call the house and make these threats that you're going to blow up the house?
I'm too old to be playing kids' games.
You're absolutely right.
I'm too old to be playing kids.
You're absolutely right.
I raised 5
You're
kids.
absolutely right.
I don't have time for kids'
You're
games.
absolutely right.
So
I believe
why was
you.
you parked in the driveway when you called the police on me?
Listen, don't speak to her. I don't believe you.
You don't believe me? So why was she arrested?
She was arrested because that's what you said happened.
Oh, my
You said
God.
she-
Okay.
I don't believe you. I believe that maybe you lost your tempers with each other. But I don't believe that you had any fear that this lady who raised you, whose home you lived in for 13 years, was going to come over to your house and blow up
Oh, my
your...
gosh, you put a gun on my mother in '96.
And it was on cops on Channel 11.
Their guns just recently got stolen.
She pulled a gun on me twice.
Judge Judy,
my son was in the front yard.
If it was such of a problem where they don't want me bothering me, whatever, how come this mail I received in my mailbox today has December the 2nd? She's using my address to get her general relief checks. Why is this such a problem?
No.
Shh. I'm sorry.
How long have you been living outside of her home?
I've been living outside her home for a little while.
How long, I asked you?
I've been out of her house since 2000. She knew that I had mail going there because she told me it was okay.
Just a second. Then you tell me, then explain this to me. This looks like, you want me to open this?
You can open it.
Oh, good. Got her
I know it's there. I've asked her if she can bring it to me. She knew my mail was going there.
Teresa, that's a serious statement. You got a copy of it in my house.
She got everybody's mail going to her house. That ain't nothing new.
Did you pick up your check
Yes,
from General
I did.
Relief in the month of October?
Yes, I did.
From your aunt's house?
No, I didn't.
From where?
I picked it up from the check cashing place.
Your case file is at her house. Your check is sent where?
To the check cashing place.
So what you're telling me is the notice to terminate
The
your
notice-
welfare benefits
Yes.
go to her house.
Yes, and I went down there to have everything transferred.
And
I've
that's
already
still coming
received
out.
one. That's already closed.
When was it closed?
I spoke to them yesterday at 3:30. It's already closed.
Listen.
You need to ask
Miss
her when
Jenkins-
she gonna
Miss
start
Jenkins-
working.
Miss Jenkins, listen to me very carefully. Were you ever arrested for a gun possession charge?
Never. That was, okay, that was in 97? No,
But
no.
that's
listen.
every year is
No, you're not
97.
listening to me. That was in 97 when she came high to my house and I told her if she don't get out my house, I would shoot her.
Listen to
That's
me.
just to get her out
Give me
my
a break.
house. But
Listen
I
to
do
me.
not own a gun.
Listen,
You can check you on
listen to me
659.
very, very carefully.
Okay, fine.
In this very short period of time that I have, I was able to very easily dispose of their claim or non-claim or whatever they thought they were going to find.
Yes.
I don't believe that your niece or your sister felt threatened by these phone conversations that you had
When her
with her.
son and bounty hunters come into my house, how you think I don't feel threatened? And I'm on parole, how do you think I feel? What am I supposed to do? I did what I was supposed to do.
I don't believe that they felt threatened by you.
That's all right.
I don't believe so. I don't believe that what they filed was false because I believe that you probably said some nasty things and your niece said some nasty things to you when you were on the phone. Would that be a fair statement?
No.
That you both said nasty things to each other. Would that be a fair statement?
Not really, because
No,
we don't speak.
no, I don't. Listen to me.
We don't speak.
Listen to me. You were speaking on the phone.
No.
You just told me you were speaking on the phone with her. She
Listen,
called
she
you.
called one time.
Please,
Judge
I can't
Judy.
deal with you. If you're not going to give me an honest answer, then I
I'm
can't
giving
deal with you.
the-
No, you're
I'm
not.
giving you honest. Only
No, you're
one
not.
time. I have it on tape when she called my house, okay?
Listen,
and that's the only
just
time I spoke to
then,
her.
So you did speak to her.
And told her not to call anymore harassing. That's it.
You're trying to anticipate what I'm saying to you, madam. And you're trying to anticipate what's going to be best for your case. And I suggest to you that that's the wrong response to give to me. Because what I was going to say to you was, I believe that you each said things to each other that were nasty. However, I was going to say to you, even having said that, I don't believe that either one of these two people felt threatened. So I was going to award you on your counterclaim something to demonstrate that I believed in your claim. However, since
98 on the calendar in the matter of McIntosh versus Sexton. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
A fight over a man. How stupid can you get? And where is this man that we were all fighting over?
Are you asking me, Judge?
Anybody who will answer my question.
Oh, he's incarcerated at the present time. He's not really the reason why we're here, though. He was irrelevant to this.
No, he's not irrelevant, but for the fact that each of you were related to him in some way by affection. You wouldn't be here. Is that right?
Oh, I don't know what she had going with him, but I know he respected me. So I don't know exactly what she had going with him.
All right, Miss McIntosh, it's your claim that Miss Sexton assaulted you.
Yes.
She assaulted you with a bottle. You were seriously injured. According to you, you wanted to pay for that. You were briefly involved with the defendant's boyfriend. You didn't know that he had a girlfriend, according to you.
Yes.
And anyway, somehow that escalated. You're going to tell me the story. Miss Sexton said that she acted in self-defense, that you picked up a bottle first to hit her. She got the bottle out of your hand, and so she bopped you with the bottle. This was really a brawl. She says, in her counterclaim, that you damaged her car on 2 separate occasions, and that she wants you to pay for her legal fees that she spent in defending these assault charges. So that's your counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently pregnant, Ms. Sexton?
Yes, I am.
And the father of this child is the person who is currently incarcerated?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any other children with him?
No, ma'am.
Did you become pregnant after you found out that he was fooling around with an underage person?
Well, actually,
Just answer my question. That's either yes or no.
Well, yes.
Another testament to your good judgment. How old are you?
18.
How old are you, Miss Sexton?
I'm 27.
You have children?
No.
Okay, Miss McIntosh, let's hear it.
On August 18, 2002, I had my sister take me to a friend's house to retrieve a necklace I left over there.
What time?
It was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Go ahead. I must be living in another culture.
So, as I was inside of the residence...
What do you do for a living?
I'm a student.
What day of the week was August 18th?
A Sunday.
What do you do during the summer?
Nothing.
Why?
Because I'm a student. I go to school right now.
You were going to school in August of 2002?
School hasn't started yet.
So what were you doing?
Nothing.
Didn't you ever hear of working?
Huh? Yes.
That's what most 17-year-olds do during the summer when they're not in school. That keeps them out of trouble, so that they're not out at 2 o'clock in the morning going to retrieve a necklace. You're her friend?
I'm her sister.
Sister. I won't even ask what you were doing, because you're older than 18?
Yes.
So you were on your way to retrieve a necklace at 2 o'clock in the morning from a friend's house. And what happened?
While I was inside of the residence, the defendant...
Inside of what residence?
My friend's house.
Who's your friend?
My boyfriend.
Oh, so that's the boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a girlfriend's house you were going over
No.
to. Your sister was taking you over to your boyfriend's house to get a necklace that you had allegedly left there. Is that right?
Yes.
Who did he live with?
His mother.
Is she normal?
Yes.
What do you think some normal person would think of a young 17-year-old popping by at 2 o'clock in the morning?
She was asleep.
So what happened when you got there?
While I was inside of the residence, the defendant, Alicia Sexton...
Just a second. You were inside with the boyfriend?
Yes.
How long had you been there inside?
Like 3 minutes.
And where was your sister?
Outside in a car waiting for me.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Your Honor, that's not.
I don't want to hear
Okay.
it. So you're inside with the boyfriend at his mother's house at 2 o'clock in the morning. And?
And the defendant came in, Alicia Sexton walked in with my friend's little brother. She came in and she asked me what my name was. I replied, Sita, and she struck me upside the head with a bottle. I then fell, she got on top of me or whatever and started hitting me. My friend broke it up or whatever.
You're talking in terms of this boyfriend?
Yes.
Who's in jail?
Yes.
He broke it up?
Yes.
Go ahead.
As I ran outside, Alicia came after me. She had the bottle in her hand. She threw it at me, but it missed me. And then she got on top of me. When she slammed me, she got on top of me again. That's when my friend and my sister came over there, and they broke the fight up. My sister didn't rush me to emergency. I had 11 stitches. I got cut 2 different spots, 8 up here and 3 down here. I have pictures.
Let me see. Okay. Let me hear your version of the events, Miss Sexton.
Actually, Judge, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was on my way over to pick my boyfriend up. We lived together. He was at his mother's house while I was at the casino.
What were you doing there?
I was gambling.
Now, you and this boyfriend lived together?
Yes, we lived at my home.
Who else lives there?
Just me and him.
How long have you been living there?
We've been living together for about 4 years now.
Go ahead.
This is actually a housing project where I was picking him up from. When I pulled up outside, I seen this young lady run in the house. She wasn't already in the house. She was outside with a bunch of people. I was not even aware of this girl, who she was, didn't know what she looked like or anything. She ran in the house, at which time his little brother showed up, and I went in the house with him. Well, he was trying to push her out the back door at the time, my boyfriend. She wouldn't go. So I said, who are you? And she said, I'm Sita. And I said, oh, you came to my house and busted out my car windows. Because she had already came to my house before on an incident prior to this and did damage to my vehicle.
How do you know that?
I have police reports with witnesses that seen her do it.
Well, you never filed any charges with regard to that.
I tried to file charges for the destruction of property in that case, ma'am. Yes, I did.
Do you have any witnesses here that saw her do it?
No, but it's in the police report.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She said, you broke out my car windows. And she said, yeah, I did, and what you gonna do about it?
So you showed her what you were gonna do about it. So you
well,
hit
we
her.
were fighting each other.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I landed the first punch or she did.
Miss Sexton, you know everything else.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Larceta McIntosh claims she and Alicia Sexton had a physical brawl over a man. Larceta says Alicia hit her in the face with a bottle.
So, at the time you saw her and she told you her name.
Right.
According to you, then you knew who she was.
Then I knew who she was.
You had never called her before.
No.
Because she says you called her house a year before.
No, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I called her mother prior to that.
Thank you. Well, that's what I want to know. You called her mother.
But not her.
What? Don't play with me.
Right. I called her mother.
What did you say to her mother?
I asked her mother, was she aware that her daughter had called me and told me she was having intimate relations with my grown boyfriend that was of age, and he shouldn't be having intimate relations with her, and that if he was...
So she called you?
She called my house first to tell me of this relationship she was having with him. And so at the time, I was trying to get this resolved because she was underage and I'm grown. And so the mother said that, no, her daughter was just lying, and her daughter told me this, that her daughter was just trying to make me mad.
When did her daughter tell you this?
She had to be about 15, maybe 16 then.
So you did speak to her on the phone?
Yeah, she called my home. I didn't call her house.
So then she called you and you spoke to her?
Yeah, and then I, in return, called her mother to see what was going on. And so when I did call her mother said she was just trying to make me jealous. I told her mother that her daughter told me that she was having relations with him and that he was too old to have relations with her, and if that was really the deal, that I wanted to know.
Okay. The boyfriend is trying to push her out the back door because you're coming in the front door, and what happened?
Like I said, I was coming to where they were standing. She was standing right behind him. I asked her, who was she? I wasn't even aware of who this girl was at that time.
Well, what did you say to her?
I said, you came to my house and busted out my car windows, and she said, you know, real cocky or whatever, and she said, I'm Sita. And I said, oh, and we started a physical confrontation at that point.
So before you asked who she was, you said to her, you came to my house and broke out my car windows.
Right.
So you knew who she was.
No,
Don't play. Miss Sexton, that's what you just said.
I didn't know who she was by her looks. I just figured that was her because she made her presence apparent when I pulled up.
Listen to me. You just said to me that when you walked into their house, you said to her, you broke out my car windows.
After she said that she was Sita.
No, that's not what you just told me
that's
2
what
seconds
I meant to
ago.
say. That's how it went.
You knew who she was.
Well, I kind of had an idea when she made herself present.
Let's not play with each other.
But I didn't know
I don't
who
have
she
time.
was.
I'm speaking. Don't try to talk over me.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And so at that time, we started a physical confrontation.
Look at my eyes. What do you mean at that time we started a physical confrontation?
We started fighting.
Somebody always starts fighting first. So give me a step-by-step of what happened.
I asked her, like I said, who she was. She told me who she was. And at that time, I said, you came to my house and you broke out my car windows. And she said, yeah, I did. And what you gonna do about it?
And?
So we started fighting.
So you showed her what you were going to do about it.
We fell on a coffee table, and the coffee table
So you
got
hit her.
broke.
So you hit her.
We were fighting each other.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I landed the first punch or she did.
Miss Sexton, you know everything else. You know what you said. You know what the boyfriend said. You know about little brothers. You know everything else. But you can't tell me who hit who first.
Well, we started fighting at that point.
Okay. Well, if you don't know who hit who first. Did she hit you first?
She hit me with the bottle.
Well, since you don't remember, babe.
I didn't hit her with the bottle.
Listen to me. Since you don't remember, I have to assume that she remembers. If you just said to me, I don't remember, then I conclude that you hit her first. Because if you don't remember, and one person says I remember, and logically it makes sense to me that, you would hit her.
I hit her with the bottle, and I did not.
Well, I don't care what you hit her with.
We fell on a coffee table, a glass coffee table, and broke it, Your Honor.
Well, let me tell you something, madam. If the fight started because you hit her first, and in self-defense she reacted, you are still liable. And I have no idea why the police dismissed these charges against you.
They never even came and spoke to me.
Well, that's some police department. You are responsible for her injuries. Since you don't remember, and she does, you're responsible. You had hospital bills? In what amount?
My hospital bills came up to, like $730.
And was there an insurance deductible?
I don't care whether there was or whether there wasn't. She's suing. I'm speaking.
And that's for why the case was dismissed.
Can I see it, please?
I think the hospital bill and back of the police report.
Oh, it was dismissed on a speedy trial motion. Is that right?
Yep.
So the DA didn't move fast enough.
Yes, that's correct. That was the only reason.
They must be very busy in Douglas County, Nebraska. You're suing her for $2,000 for both the medical bills and your pain and suffering. You are entitled to that. So on your complaint, I am going to award you $2,000. Ms. Sexton, you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim states that she damaged your car. You have proof of that?
In the police reports, the police spoke to the witnesses.
And that's the only proof that you have?
Well, and that I seen her actually bust my window out at one time.
I don't believe that, because if you had seen her busting out your car window, then you would have put that in your answer and in your counterclaim. You chose not to do that, and even the person who you brought with you was shaking her head no. Isn't that right? Isn't that right?
No, it's incorrect.
Oh, yes, she saw her bust out her window?
Yes, I did.
Oh, how come it's not in the answer that you put here, madam?
Caused damages to my vehicle on 817 and 713. It is in there. She caused damages.
No.
I've seen
You
that.
didn't tell me that you observed it.
If I may.
Step up. Who are you?
I'm her mother.
Did you observe her? Did you
I
make...
did not observe her. She has a protection order against me, and I have one against them also. The first time that her windows got broken out at her home, she called me at 5:30 in the morning. I went up there. I looked at her caller ID. She said that the girl had been harassing her all night.
There's no question in my mind that this 17-year-old girl
got infatuated.
Be quiet.
Yeah, your judgment's not terrific, Miss Sexton. Your mother can attest to that, isn't that right?
On some things, yes.
There's no question in my mind that this 17-year-old girl was strung along by this person currently incarcerated, soon to be a father. There's no question that she acted inappropriately for a 17-year-old or for a 27-year-old or for a 15-year-old. Your daughter is supposed to be older and smarter.
And I called her parents, the 17-year-old's parents, at that time. Spoke to the father first. The father told me that she was out of control, that yes, she was out all night, that they didn't know where she was, that that's what's the car she was.
She's out of control.
She was supposed to be on a curfew at the time, ma'am.
Put yourself down.
Well, anyway, I asked them, I said, well, can you do something with her? She can't keep coming up here, calling here, breaking out windows, causing all this damage. Something's going to happen, and one of them are going to end up getting hurt eventually. Later that day, her mother called my house, told me that I was going to bury my daughter with my other dead daughter. And I said, if anything happens to my daughter, your daughter's the one coming up here. So I went back and forth.
What does this have to do with car windows?
It just kept going back and forth.
Listen to me. What does this have to do with car windows?
The damage is excessive, and it kept doing it, and she kept coming to her home. My daughter never went to her home, never called her, anything.
Listen to me. In all probability, she did it. Just give me proof.
Well, the only proof I have is the witnesses that are in the police reports, ma'am.
Well, I can't use that, madam.
Well, I did ask if I could bring notarized statements or anything. They said no. Right.
So. No, you could bring witnesses.
Well, these are older people that own businesses and couldn't come.
Then I can't help you.
And then at the housing project that night, the mother of the defendant told her, do not break out her windows, because they were threatening to, and she saw her break it out.
Tell me what you saw.
I'm going to tell you what exactly happened. We had a confrontation in the house. At that time, we went outside, and she didn't rush to no hospital. We went outside and fought 3 more times before she left.
Yes.
To tell you the truth. She didn't rush to no hospital.
Keep going.
The first time that they broke it up, she went outside and she was all mad and everything. So at that time, she was outside. She bust my window out with a baseball bat.
Just don't give me a long explanation. I want you to look through the police report and you tell me if anywhere in the police report you told the police that you saw her with your eyes break out your car window. Take a moment and look through the police report.
I already know
and
what
let
the
your
police
mother
report
help you.
says.
Put your hand down. I'm not interested in you.
I know what the police report says.
No, no, no.
I did. No, in the police report, no, I didn't. The police never showed up that night. They never came. That's why I was unable to tell them that.
At any place in the police report from the next day, 2 days later, 3 days later, because they add on to police reports, you know, when you make additional reports, any place does it say that you told the police that you saw her break out your car window?
No, it doesn't.
Sorry, can't help you. Miss McIntosh, reluctantly, I am awarding you what you are requesting, which is $2,000, because you were, in fact, assaulted by Miss Sexton, and I believe that she threw the first punch. But I think that you probably were out of control, smitten with a loser who happens now to belong, at least temporarily, to Miss Sexton when he gets finished belonging to the state of Nebraska. Is your last name Sexton?
No.
What is your last name?
Buckley.
Miss Buckley, your daughter has made some serious errors in judgment. And I would hope that now that she's going to have a child, you try to inculcate into her some responsibility.
That was his judgment. I don't.
No, it was your judgment, Miss Sexton. It was your judgment to get yourself hooked up with and get pregnant by somebody who
that respected me, that I didn't know anything about disrespecting me.
Oh, save me. Bird, get him outside.
Thank you, Your Honor. Versus Sanchez. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor, and may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. Perez, it is your claim that the defendant's son broke a car window with a rock.
That is correct.
When did this happen?
This happened on December 17th, 2000.
Are you neighbors?
We live across the street from each other, yes.
And where was your car parked?
My car was parked right in front of my house by the parking lot of the Ramada where we live.
That is incorrect. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was parked in the common area.
Is it on the street or in a parking lot?
In a parking lot.
Okay. Do you have a photograph so I can see where your car was parked?
I live right across from the parking lot.
In one of these houses?
No, I'm facing this way.
On the other side, I can't see your house, is that right?
Right.
All right. And who lives in these houses?
They live on the left side where the beige with the brown trimming is at.
In the carport.
Is this your house? Can you see?
We're on the other side of the Ramada.
You're on
Correct,
this side?
Right there.
You're here. Okay. You weren't there when this happened?
We were home.
But you did not see what happened?
Exactly, we did not see.
Okay. Who saw what happened?
The two witnesses here, Carlitos and Antonio.
Are they neighbors of yours?
They live around the neighborhood, yes.
Okay. Let's start with the older young man first. Come up here. Tell me your name.
Antonio Vasquez.
Antonio, you're a neighbor?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah. Yes,
Are you nervous?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. But you're going to tell me the truth, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm?
Yes, ma'am.
What can I do to you if you don't tell me the truth? You don't know? Nothing good. You got me? Okay. Tell me what you saw with regard to this rock throwing incident.
Well, what I saw is that...
Look at me.
What I saw is that Mario threw a big rock.
Who's Mario?
The one that's sitting down right there.
Uh-huh.
He threw a rock to the Ramada in front of my house, hit the roof. That's where it bounced and almost hit my friend Carlitos in the head, and he ducked and hit the car window.
Was anybody else throwing rocks?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought. Who else was throwing rocks? Look at me.
Two friends of mine and my friend here.
So you were all throwing rocks?
Yes, ma'am.
Who were you throwing rocks at?
I was throwing rocks to Mario.
So you were throwing rocks at Mario, and Mario was throwing rocks at you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this your brother?
No, he's my friend.
What's his name?
Carlitos.
Carlitos. Carlitos was also throwing rocks at Mario?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have any other friends with you that were throwing rocks at Mario?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was your other friend?
My other friend was Gilbert and Alex.
Gilbert and Alex. And who are they?
They're two friends that live by the neighborhood.
How old are they?
One is 7 years old and the other one's 6.
So there were 4 of you throwing rocks at Mario?
Yes, ma'am.
What was Mario doing when you were throwing rocks at him?
Mario was cleaning his front yard.
So why did you decide to throw rocks at him?
Well, first,
Now, I want you to tell me the truth. So far, you're doing really well. Okay? So far, you're doing really well. This is not a terrible thing. Not a smart idea to throw rocks because somebody could have gotten hurt, right? But we're not talking about capital murder here. We're talking about kids playing. So I want you to be sure to tell me the truth. You and 3 of your little friends started to throw rocks at Mario.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you started it.
No.
Who started to throw rocks at Mario?
Gilbert.
Gilbert. Any particular reason Gilbert started to throw rocks at Mario?
Well, he just flicked it at Mario.
He flicked it. Well, there's not much of a difference between flicking and throwing. So first he flicked it. Did Mario say something like cut it out, stop it?
No, ma'am.
Didn't say anything. Who threw another rock at Mario?
Well, first Gilbert flicked it at Mario, so Mario threw a whole bunch back at Gilbert, so his other friend Alex decided to help him.
Who's Alex?
His other friend of Gilbert.
But Mario was all alone, right?
Yeah.
And it was the 4 of you throwing rocks at him. How many times did you throw a rock at him?
I only threw once.
Only once?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you throw a rock at Mario?
I threw it because he threw a whole bunch at Alex because he was running towards us, and one just got out of the group and hit me on the arm and bruised me right here.
Well, you started it, you and your friends. All he was doing was taking care of his front lawn.
Yeah, but we weren't with Gilbert and Alex. They were just around the street. We were just playing on the Ramada.
But you came over and you started to help them.
No, I threw it one at him because he hit me. So I'm trying to defend myself.
Sit down. They're little kids. Mario,
Yes.
how old are you?
I'm 15.
So they're stupid little kids, right?
Yes.
So what'd you throw the rocks back for?
We're unaggressively playing.
You were playing.
Yes.
Mr. and Mrs. Perez, did you get all this information from these boys when you talked to them?
No, it wasn't that way. You know, they came to our house. They told us we were playing at the Ramada. Gilbert and Alex were playing by their street. He was cleaning the yard. Gilbert had thrown a rock towards him. He threw a rock towards the other 2 little kids. Then Mario continued throwing rocks.
No, they were all throwing rocks at each other.
And then,
Mr. and Mrs. Perez, they were all throwing rocks at each other.
Exactly. They were all throwing rocks, and then Mario had threw they're decorative rocks, the real small rock, threw a whole bunch of them, hit Antonio on the arm. And then they threw back.
What makes you think if they started it, these 4 little boys, he's out there minding his own business, doing his work in this front lawn, 4 little kids come over and they start to throw rocks. First one, then another, then he takes small pebbles, they're little ones, and tosses them back at them, and they started doing it. Why would you think that he's only responsible for this instead of all these boys?
According to the witness, they was playing by themselves, this 2 kids, and the other kid was playing by themselves.
No. It's not how it happened. No. It's not how it happened.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Renee and Leticia Perez say 15-year-old Mario Obregon broke their car window with a rock.
Listen to me. They started it. And what I'm asking you is, why do you think that only one boy is responsible, even though he's older and should have known better?
He threw the rock that hit the remote of the roof, striking my window to my car.
Okay,
with
fine.
this rock.
Now I understand. Because he threw the rock that you believe ultimately
hit the car. And we went and talked to him. We went to his house. We talked to him. We asked him, did you break the window of my car? He says, I might have.
He might have.
Okay, and then I'll pay for it, but just don't tell
Mrs. Perez, you ain't getting it. I believe that 5 kids are responsible for breaking your window, not just one. They shouldn't have been throwing rocks at each other, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you might have. One of the rocks that you threw might have broken their window, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But he's not solely responsible. Let me see the estimate on the damage to your car. What kind of car was it?
It's a 1991 Geostorm.
Your Honor, I also got something that states a price on that same window.
Let me take a look. Windshield repair. Okay.
And it had tags and registration at the time. Tags are expired. They expired on February of this month.
Listen to me, sir. This is not an estimate.
I understand that.
This is a card.
Correct. And the reason I gave that is because the young lady I spoke to on the 21st said that we can call her and
I'm not
verify.
calling her. All she has to do is give you an estimate, like
Okay.
this.
Thank you. Okay.
It's like this, an estimate. And it costs about $1,000 to fix it, right?
The wing show, yes.
There were 5 boys involved, correct?
That's correct.
That means he's responsible for $200. You got to get the rest from the other boys. You understand? 5 children involved in throwing rocks, not just one. He didn't even start it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $200. That's all.
Parties are excused and they step out.
He is much older. He had no business throwing rocks back at them.
Mario threw a lot of rocks and hit him in the arm and bruised him.
I agree that I shouldn't have been throwing rocks,
He was throwing rocks towards my car.
but I did not break the window.
I've learned when everybody starts throwing rocks, I just walk away.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Garrison versus DeTrolio, step forward, please.
25-year-old fraud specialist Katrina Garrison is suing her former friend, 29-year-old import coordinator Stacy DeTrolio, for her portion of a security deposit. Stacy says she's already paid.
This case deals with a loan that the defendant needed for an apartment rent deposit. Is that right?
Correct.
And you 2 ladies were friends.
Yes.
You were moving?
Yes. I moved in with a roommate.
You moved in with someone?
Yes.
Who already had the apartment?
No, we both moved in together. It was a house.
And what was the rent on this house?
It was $1,500 first, last, and deposit.
So tell me when you approached the plaintiff about $1,500 loan.
It was around August, and I believe that...
Beginning, middle?
Beginning.
Did you approach her by phone or in person?
In person.
Was it at her house?
Our house.
You were living together at the time?
No, my house. We'd already moved in, and we had already paid the first and deposit. We needed the last.
Had she come over to visit?
Yes.
Who was present?
Me, Amy, and Katrina.
Who's Amy?
Witness.
The witness. She wasn't your roommate?
No.
All right, so
we were
you
all
came
friends.
over with your witness, and the 3 of you had a discussion. You told her that you needed $1,500.
Yes.
Tell me in your own words what you said.
I actually approached Amy, because Amy and I were very good friends, and she said that Katrina probably would help us out. I never really asked right up front. It was just kind of like, well, Katrina probably will, and I mean, I wasn't looking to borrow money from Katrina. But
you did.
But
So
I
you
did.
had to have said something to her.
Yes.
Come on.
That we needed help with the last month's rent.
And what did she say to you?
She said, okay.
When did, after that conversation, did she give you the money?
A few days, a couple days.
Did she give it to you in check or cash?
Check.
And you have the check?
I don't have the check. I didn't have time for them to get it from the bank.
You have your bank statement?
I don't have the bank statement either.
Why not?
She said she don't borrow the money. There's no question about that, whether she borrowed the money.
Just a minute. There's always a question to me. You're supposed to come to court with evidence. Evidence would be a check, canceled check that you gave her.
I have emails that state that she borrowed the money from me.
Okay. How much did you pay her back?
$700.
Check or cash?
Cash.
How much did you pay her back?
$200.
Check or cash?
Check.
You have a copy of the check?
No.
But you have a copy of the check?
I don't have a copy of the check. I just deposited the check into the bank.
The first one was $200 in cash, and the rest was, or $200 with the check, and the rest was cash.
Why did you give her cash after
Because she didn't want a check, she wanted cash. And we were friends, so.
Why didn't she want a check? Had she had trouble with your check before?
Probably.
She gave me the check on October 23rd, and I was not able to cash the check until December 29th. And I went in on every single payday. She works with her at the same company, so I know what her paydays were and everything. So I
wish I would have had a copy of that check.
I
because
walked
that's not
into the
true.
bank every morning on the 1st and the 15th of the month to cash a check, and the funds were not available.
My paydays were the 7th and the 22nd, Your Honor.
What difference does it make?
That's not the truth. So.
Well, Mr. Trolio, common sense would suggest that if you had given her a check once and she had absolutely no trouble cashing it, then she wouldn't have insisted on cash for the remainder of the money that you claim you gave her, right?
Well, you can assume that,
Right.
I suppose. Yes.
Right. Well, that sounds like a logical assumption. That's what I would do. Somebody gave me a check and I was able to go put it in the bank. I would say, fine, give me a check for the rest of the money. Now, you have a rather interesting defense. Your defense is that you really paid her back.
My share.
Your share.
Yes.
You say you paid her back $700 in total?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Shh, wait a second. You said you gave her $700 in total. 7 and 7 is 14. You borrowed 15.
The $100 was a fee.
A what?
Some kind of loan fee that my other roommate at the time was going to pay because I paid more of the rent part of it.
It doesn't make any difference.
Her other roommate.
Just a second. Your defense is that only half of this money is attributable to you, the other half is attributable to your roommate.
Exactly.
When did the plaintiff have a conversation with your roommate about the money? What does that mean?
Well,
what does that mean?
She knows because we had the discussion about Christy paying half.
To you?
Yes, to me.
Not to her.
Right. No.
Not to her.
I told her, too, that Christy was responsible for half of that.
No. She was responsible for half of that to you. You assume that your roommate would pay half.
Yes.
Because that's your defense. Your defense is get it from my roommate.
She's got the wrong person. I paid my share, and she
Not
knows
to her.
that...
No, that's what she knows. That goes into the operation of her mind. If she had a contract with two people, then you are absolutely right. The two people would be responsible for the return of this money. If, however, she had a contract with only one person, and she made that verbal agreement with one person, and that's you, then you are responsible for getting half of that money from your roommate, not her. You can't say, this loan was for both of us, I'm going to pay my share, you go and get the rest from my roommate. It's your job. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfect. You understand?
I understand perfectly.
Perfect. Now, what I don't understand, Ms. Garrison, is you acknowledge, if I believe what you say, that you only received $200 from the defendant.
Correct.
You talk about these emails about a paper that she signed. Where is it?
I moved, and I have been unable to find it. It was a promissory note that she signed by herself. Amy,
that's
my
not
witness,
true.
That is true. My witness was
doesn't
there
make any difference
when she signed it as well.
I'm just curious as to why you didn't bring it if it's in here.
It's because it didn't prove her case.
Well, you should have a copy.
I
You
didn't
signed
get a
the
copy
note.
because she's my friend. Was my friend.
Just a second. You sign a note, you keep a copy.
Well, I guess I'm not that smart.
Well, I'm not so sure. You borrow money, you don't pay it back. That makes you pretty smart. It says here that she gave you $600.
She wrote that.
Oh, I understand that. But what I'm looking for is for your answer when you say, you never gave me $600, you only gave me $200.
It's because she can't.
It's in there. Shh. It is in there.
Show me.
Okay.
I want the response to her $600. Because first she says 7, then she says 6.
Your Honor, I also have an affidavit from my roommate that I live with now.
Not interested.
That proves...
Not interested.
Oh, okay.
In your affidavit from a roommate.
I have a witness here that was present at the house when Katrina came over and I gave her money.
I have never seen him in my life.
She was not inside the house either.
Just a minute.
She was outside the house, which she didn't come in.
Just a minute.
Can't see what you don't if you don't come in the house, right? Sorry.
Basically, I mean, most of it in here it just says...
Listen to me. All I'm interested in is your response, which is, where do you get $600? Could you just point out where you say to her, you didn't give me $600? Is it in there?
That's right. Well, it's right here. This one's from Stacy, and then this is my response.
Okay.
Right. That one, and then that's the response.
Okay. Court finds that the defendant owes you $1,300, that she has in fact paid you $200 by check, and that's it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount $1,300. That's all.
Parties are excused. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
You are Mr.
Murray.
So you are the father of the...
Bride.
And Miss Rose, you're the mother of the groom.
Yes, ma'am.
Who are you?
The groom.
Where's the bride?
She couldn't be here. She was too upset over these matters, Your Honor.
I believe it. Okay. Bert, I want you to listen to this very carefully. You haven't married any of your children yet, right?
Not yet.
According to the complaint and the counterclaim, the two families were planning a wonderful wedding for their children, and now the wedding, which has taken place, is over. And each of the parents are suing and countersuing the others for monies that they say are owed to them as a result of the expenses for the wedding. We're not talking about a lot of money here. Mr. Murray, you claim that Mrs. Rose owes you $573.79. And Mrs. Rose, you say that Mr. Murray owes you $2,999.45. First, let me hear what the claims are before I rush to judgment. Okay, sir. When was the wedding planned?
The wedding was planned for March 31st.
And you like the bridegroom?
Yes.
Nice guy?
Yes.
You think your daughter likes him?
I hope so.
She's known him for a while?
Yes, I think they've known each other 3-4 years, something like that.
And looking forward to a wonderful life together.
Hopefully.
So tell me how much you say you're owed by Miss Rose, and for what?
All right, I think the total is $573.79. She wanted to have the reception at her club, which is
Who wanted
a
to
bar.
have the reception at the club?
Pat, Mrs. Rose wanted to have the reception at her club or bar, or I think the sign on the front says honky tonk.
It's not a honky tonk. Excuse me, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Matter of fact, I have pictures of
Just
showing that.
talk to me, sir.
But anyway, we met there 2 weeks before the wedding to go over things that need to be done and this and that and the other. And she'd asked, in fact, about a week or so before that, if we could clean the carpet. We own and operate a carpet cleaning business. So we agreed that we'd come in and clean the carpet, and the deal was...
You mean before the wedding?
Before the wedding. And the deal was on the carpet was that we would clean the carpet for whatever it cost for materials.
Go ahead.
We went in and cleaned the carpet. In fact, my wife and my stepson had went and cleaned the carpet. They were in there for like 6 hours. We used somewhere around 60 gallons or 62.5 gallons of cleaner in this restaurant. It was extremely, extremely bad. I mean, for the square foot of a bar.
It was a dirty carpet, and you cleaned it. That's your business.
All right.
Okay.
So anyway, Thursday night we stopped by the club. They were in there starting to set up. They were blowing up balloons, I believe. She said she didn't have a way to go to the store to pick up some of the food items that she wanted to prepare for the reception. And we said, well, we can go do that. My wife left, went to the grocery store, picked up the food items, brought them back. And we said we would settle up after the wedding. The wedding took place on Saturday. Monday, we went back in to pick up some of our things. In fact, we'd sent her a bill later on that week after we'd got everything together. She called and said that she didn't think she owed that kind of money. We sent her receipts. We heard nothing.
Okay, so your receipts are for what, sir?
The receipts are for the items that were bought at the grocery store.
And how much was that?
$53.24.
$53.24 of the items you bought at the grocery store. And what else?
We'd taken some ribbons and things by for table decorations. I mean, it's just simple things like 94 cents on ribbons and stuff like that.
So, yeah, go ahead, 94 cents. What else?
Right. It was some things in there from Food Line.
All total,
Meat.
sir, for the items that you picked up for her, that you have receipts for, how much do you have receipts for?
Oh, Lord. Be $123.79, I believe, Your Honor.
$123.79. All right. And what's the other money for?
The other money, the $450, was for materials used in carpet cleaning.
Okay. That's what your claim is, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, let me hear from you. What's your claim about?
Would you like these receipts?
No.
Well, first of all, Your Honor, when I talked to his wife, Mrs. Murray, about cleaning my carpets, I told her it was for the wedding because I wanted the carpets to be clean for the reception. First, she said, no charge. I said, no, I will not let you do it free of charge. She says, well, why don't we get the boys to clean the carpets and I'll charge you for the chemicals. And I said, that's fine. How much do you think that'll be? She said $25 or $30. I agreed to that. The boys came in, they cleaned the carpets. And then the Thursday, as he was talking about her going to the grocery store.
I don't want to hear about the grocery store.
Okay, they came over to...
Shh. I don't want to hear about the grocery store. I want to hear about your counterclaim.
Oh, my counterclaim. Okay.
Right, that's what I want to hear about.
Okay, my counterclaim is $2,999.45. These are charges incurred because of the wedding, the rental of the dance area, which is half of what I would normally have charged.
Why did you charge him anything?
Well,
why'd you charge him anything?
It's a business.
What?
I coughed up $400
for what?
For the rental of the business.
No.
I closed my business down, Your Honor, for 10 hours.
Just a second. How long was the reception?
The reception started at 4.
And was over at what time?
4:30, 5 o'clock, and it went on to 12.
Were there other people in the bar?
Not customers, no. Everybody was in there, was invited to the wedding.
Fine. How many children do you have?
One, thank God.
Good. So you have one child, and you happen to have a place where they could have the wedding. So what's the big deal if you close your place for a
No
night?
big deal.
Good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephen Murray says mother of the groom, Pat Rose, owes for money spent on his stepdaughter's wedding. Pat says it's Stephen who owes.
What's next?
Preparation and setup.
What does that mean?
That was doing the decorations, all the things that had to be done, setting up for the food area, for the cake, the decorations for the club.
What else?
Clean up.
What else?
Rental of linens. They did not want to use my white ones. They wanted the champagne ones.
Fine. How much was that?
$65.
Good. Go.
I have invoices.
No. I want you to keep talking to me.
Okay. The food.
How much was the food?
My cost on the food was $601. I called a caterer to find out how much.
How many people were at the wedding?
187 people RSVP'd.
No. How many people came to the wedding?
I didn't do a head count, Your Honor.
But a lot of people.
Yes, it was full.
Okay, and the total cost of the food was approximately $601?
Right.
Okay, what else?
Champagne.
How much was that? Your cost?
$210. She agreed to pay for this.
Okay, what's next?
The bands and the DJs.
Are these regular employees of yours?
No, you book bands and DJs as you need them.
No, I'm asking you. Were these regular employees of yours? Did you pay them by the week? Did you pay them by...
No, you book them per occasion. I had booked a band in there. Mrs. Murray called me and insisted that I cancel the band. I told her it would be just as cheap for me to let them go ahead and play because I had to pay a cancellation fee. She said she wanted a DJ and karaoke to cancel my band. I did. I paid the cancellation fee, hired a DJ, and as soon as I...
Now, would you give me some idea of what the cost was for the music?
I paid $290 cancellation fee. Then I had to turn around and pay another band that she insisted that I hire $300. The DJ and karaoke was $250.
Okay, what else?
And then there was additional wait staff, loss of linens due to the fountain, and the carpet. I have invoices for all this, Your Honor.
I'm being very arbitrary here. There are certain costs that I'm considering in my head and certain costs that I'm not. Now, Mr. Murray, how many children do you have, sir?
I have 2, and I have 2 stepchildren.
I want to know how many children you have.
2, 1 daughter, 1 son.
And how much did you pay out of pocket for her wedding?
That was my stepdaughter that got married, Your Honor.
Oh, it was your stepdaughter that got married? Well, that's your daughter. Step up.
Your Honor.
Just a minute. Your name is Miss Murray?
My name's Darlene Murray.
You have 1 daughter?
I have 2 children, 1 daughter, 1 son.
Are you employed?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Are you employed?
Yes, I am.
What I want to know is how much the parents of the bride actually expended for this wedding and what you spent it for.
Your Honor, first of all, may I please say
nothing except answering my question. How much money did you spend to feed the guests at the wedding?
My agreement.
That's not what I asked you. How much did you spend to feed the guests at the wedding?
I would say that I spent over $200.
For what?
The rehearsal dinner, unbeknownst to me, was at my home. That was not pre-planned.
Who planned a rehearsal dinner at your home without your knowledge?
There was not to be, Your Honor, a rehearsal dinner because the rehearsal was going to be at 7 o'clock in the evening, the night prior to the wedding.
Right.
My son just got married last May, and it was...
How did you get to have a rehearsal dinner at your house without your knowledge?
We were doing dinner for the guests that were coming in from out of town that would be staying.
Your guests?
Correct.
Just a second. Just a second. Your guests?
Correct.
From out of town?
Correct.
Were any of the groom's guests from out of town at this rehearsal dinner?
They were not to be, but at the last minute, because of not planning correctly, Miss Rose informed me that they would then come to our house after the rehearsal. So I ended up with their family and our out-of-town guests at our home for a rehearsal dinner that we prepared all the food and liquor at.
Okay. No, don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer me. Don't answer me. How many people did you have at your home for dinner?
I would say 50 people there.
50 people. And of the 50 people, how many people were from the groom's side?
I would say roughly.
Not roughly.
Some people I didn't know. I mean, they were friends and out of town. I would say probably somewhere around 20 to 25. It was probably about equal amounts.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
She's... Okay. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
What else did you spend money on?
For the wedding?
Yeah.
Other than dress and personal items?
Yeah.
Nothing, because it was not my wedding. This is my daughter's third wedding, Your Honor.
Wedding.
I paid for the first one.
And Stacy and Wayne agreed to pay for this wedding.
My daughter is 35 years of age. This was their wedding. I do not believe that it was my obligation as mother of the bride to pay for a wedding that they did
Then let me
arrangements.
ask you this question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? And I don't necessarily disagree with you, because that's information that was not contained in your complaint, that this was a third marriage for your daughter.
Your Honor.
Shh.
Excuse me. Okay. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Just a minute.
Okay.
And that you paid for the first one, maybe paid for the second one, and you weren't going to pay for a third one. You said, wish you good luck, but I'm not paying for the wedding. That's not unreasonable, so...
It's basically how it works.
Right. Just a minute. That doesn't mean you're going to get your money for carpet cleaning. Let me explain that to you. That's outrageous. It's outrageous because I've had my carpet cleaned a couple of times in my life, and it doesn't cost $450 for materials for carpet cleaning. You know it, and I know it. Mr. Murray, you know what a jug, a whole vat of cleaning material costs, and it doesn't cost $450 for carpet cleaning. And even if it did, which it doesn't, it seems to me, while you had no out-of-pocket expenses for the wedding, it was a nice gesture if you said, if you're donating your hall, which, by the way, you're going to do.
Okay.
I'm giving you that right now.
That's fine.
If you're donating the hall, at least I want to do something to make it pretty, so I'll come in and clean the carpets. So I've just taken care of your claim. You have no claim. You cleaned the carpets and you picked up $100 worth of food. Big deal. According to you, you had a lot of out-of-town family. I don't know if it's your family, your daughter's family. So even if you made a rehearsal dinner, you decided to do that, and you made it at your house for your out-of-town guests, you knew that they were going to be fed at her establishment because she paid for the food.
No, Your Honor.
Yeah, I believe she paid for the food for the wedding.
Your Honor, may I please say something?
You're telling me everybody brought something?
Yes, ma'am. And I have the list as to how it was
A friend
done.
of ours that came from North Carolina that does wedding cakes, she made the cake and she brought the cake
How
down.
many people were at this wedding?
About 120 people.
Yeah.
120 people. So somebody else made a wedding cake. Big deal. And
No,
if you're telling me this was a potluck wedding where everybody brought a dish to feed 120 people, I'm telling you I don't buy it.
Well,
Forget it. You have no claim.
Wasn't enough food
Listen to me.
120
You
people.
have no claim. What I don't understand is why you two people have chosen to interfere with the happiness of your children over what I consider pittance of money. Everybody has problems when they plan a wedding. Everybody has problems when paying for a wedding. The bride's parents are supposed to do this, the groom's parents are supposed to do that. In the case of second or third marriages, perhaps that's different. But it seems to me you have one child, and you want that child to be happy. Both of you have placed a strain on a brand new marriage by fighting with each other. This will never go away. This will never make your children feel better. Put your hand down. I am certain that they have had many hours of discussions, unpleasant discussions. That a fair statement? You and your new wife?
Yes, ma'am.
Over this nonsense. Nonsense. Stand up here with your mom. Do you work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
Professional painter.
Have you been doing that for a long time?
Right about 8 months now.
Is this your first marriage?
Yes, ma'am.
And you knew it was your wife's third marriage?
Yes, ma'am.
Does she have children from her first two marriages?
Yes, ma'am. 2 girls.
How old are they?
19 and 16.
Are you currently living with your wife?
Yes, ma'am.
Other than this strain that you have any other stress or strain?
Regular life, but this is really a real bad strain.
This is what I'm going to suggest that you do. If your mother wants the money for the rental of the hall, for the band, and for any other incidentals that she may have incurred for this wedding, I suggest you and your wife pay for it.
Your Honor.
Do you understand? I suggest you and your wife pay for it.
May I say something, Your Honor?
Sure.
Mrs. Murray is the one who demanded all these demands. She's the one that ramrodded the whole affair. She's the one that made all the decisions, not the bridegroom, not myself. She's the one that demanded that I cancel the band. Then she's the one that demanded I hire a DJ. She's the one that demanded that I rehire another band. She's the one who agreed to pay for the champagne. She's the one who agreed to do all this stuff.
I helped clean
She's
the carpet.
the one. She was so petty
Just a
about
second.
everything, Your
Just
Honor.
a second. Listen to me. I wasn't there. And I believe, just listen to me. You don't have a written agreement with her, do you?
Verbal agreement.
I said you don't have a written agreement
No,
with her,
ma'am, I
do
have
you?
a verbal agreement.
Okay. I believe them when they say that they were not prepared to make a third wedding. I believe them because that's very reasonable. And they were going to use your club, and there weren't going to be a lot of expenses. You have 2 adult children, one of whom has 2 children who are adults themselves. So if you feel as if you have to be reimbursed for the rental of your place and table linens, I suggest you speak to your son and make arrangements to do that. Your case is dismissed as well as your counterclaim. That's all.
Case number 292 on the calendar in the matter of Medrano versus Reynoso.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Medrano, according to the complaint that I have read, the defendant was your girlfriend. You were together for about 1.5 years, and you have a child together. Is that right?
That's accurate.
How old is your child?
He's 3.
You claim that you made a series of small loans to the defendant, and in addition, she owes you for a VCR and television set or something that you put on your credit card. There was an agreement for her to pay you back. She paid you some, didn't pay the rest. You want the rest. The entire sum that she owes you, according to you, is $500. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant has a counterclaim, which I quite frankly don't understand. You'll explain it to me. All right, so tell me about these loans, sir. When did you make them and what were they for?
Well, there was $189 that was towards a trip to Florida that I had given her in cash. There was another $150 that fixed the car. There was something wrong with the brakes. And there was another $150 that she didn't pay me, refused to pay me for the TV and VCR that I had purchased for her on my credit card.
Oh. 189 trip to Florida. When was that?
That was approximately in July of last year.
Tell me about that.
Well, she said she wanted to go to Florida.
Were you living together at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a joint checking account?
No.
You kept your money separate?
Definitely.
Who paid the rent?
She did.
Whose apartment was it?
It was hers.
Was it furnished when you moved in?
Yes, Your Honor.
So it was her furniture?
Yes.
Who paid the gas and electric?
Yes.
Who?
She did.
What did you pay for?
Well, different things such as the car and expenses, different things.
Well, so far I got the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically the car, Your Honor. To tell you the truth, I maintained it and things like that.
Who bought the car?
It was her car.
You paid for the gas?
Mm-hmm.
You paid for the insurance?
No.
She paid for the insurance?
Yes.
So you paid for the gas. What else did you pay for?
There were repairs on the...
Well, the repairs, sir, you wanted to pay you back for $150. That was the second loan that you say you made to her.
There was more than one repair. Obviously, a car, you know, needs repairs.
Oh, that was
and
your capital
maintenance.
contribution, taking care of the car. Is that right? For this household?
Yes.
Perfect. Take care of it. So I just knocked out your car repair loan. So let me hear about the trip to Florida. She wanted to go to Florida, and?
And she spoke to me about it, and...
What did she say to you, and what did you say to her?
She said, well, I want to go to Florida, and I think that you should pay for it. And I was like, you know what? I was like, fine, that's great.
Great. So we just knock off the trip to Florida.
Yeah.
And I think you should pay for it, too.
That's great, but,
Good.
you know...
Okay, that's great. Wonderful. Perfect. Now, $150 was for what?
was for
VCR.
the television VCR.
And how much was the whole television VCR?
$439. However, we agreed that she would give me $500.
Why is that?
That's what she agreed. I didn't ask her for it. She...
So she agreed to give you a tip of
if you want to say that, yeah, if you'd like to say
that. A tip of $60. Okay. How much is left to pay on the TV VCR?
Approximately $150.
Show me. You kept the VCR, Miss Reynoso, is that right?
Yes.
And the TV?
Yes.
We'll get to you in a second. Oh. And you made some payments on this, is that right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Tell me how come you stopped paying?
Well, he has a court order to pay me child support, which he hasn't done in a year.
Inaccurate.
When did you start paying child support, sir?
She had it on ever since I could remember, to be honest with you.
What do you mean, ever since?
Since the 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, about 3 years.
You mean while you were living together, you were paying child support?
I was trying to because I just graduated school and everything. Well,
I don't care trying. I want to know when you started to pay child support, sir.
I can't give you an exact date, Your Honor.
How much child support do you pay?
It's $60 a week, and I was paying that in sporadic payments because I was also paying for school.
So is it fair to say that you didn't make all your child support payments?
Yes.
Was it fair to say that, let's say you missed 3 payments?
More than that, Your Honor.
More than that?
Yes.
At least $150 worth of payments.
Yes. But the entire thing was I was going to take the money and send it back to her. So she would receive the money and it would bring down the arrears that I'm currently in.
When were you going to do that?
When I received the money.
And where were you going to get the money from?
From her.
For what?
For the $150 that she owed me. And
get a life. I have no idea what precipitated your bringing this lawsuit, sir. No idea at all. Somebody that owes a substantial amount of money in child support doesn't futz around with $150 that's owed on a TV VCR. You know, you'd find a rock to crawl under someplace, but you don't come out in the open and go into a court to sue for $150 to fix a car that was your sole responsibility while you lived together, $189 for a Florida trip that was clearly a gift when you made it to her.
She spent with her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, I should say.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Fernando Medrano says the mother of his child, Florangel Reynoso, owes for a series of loans. Florangel says Fernando hasn't paid child support in over a year.
All right. Now, Ms. Reynoso, I'm going to hear about your counterclaim now. What's your counterclaim for?
$2,400.
For what?
When we were living together, we made an agreement that we were going to get new furniture. So I had asked him if it was a good time. My cousin wanted to buy the furniture off me, and if it was a good time to sell it to her. And I asked him quite a few times, and I said, are you sure you're going to get me new furniture? And he said yes. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. That never happened. He left in August, and my living room was empty. I had no furniture.
Get it back from your cousin. What else?
Then I asked him a week ago, 2 weeks ago, to get his son a bed because he's getting too big for the crib, and he refused.
So that's not a lawsuit. You asked him to get a bed, he said no. That's not a lawsuit. What's next?
And that was it. And just clothes that I bought for Jaden since he doesn't help me in anything. But that was it.
Okay, so you know that that's all nonsense. Perfect. So I don't even have to address the fact that your counterclaim is nonsense. And I don't have to address the fact that your claim is nonsense. So your claim is nonsense, you get nothing, you get nothing. What you do get from me is a lecture. How old are you?
29.
And you?
23.
You have one child?
Yes.
How many children do you have?
Just one.
What kind of work do you do?
Substitute teacher.
Do you have a permanent teaching license?
No, that's not my field.
What's your field?
Criminal justice.
Shh. What do you want to do with a criminal justice degree?
I'm interested in going to law school. However, that's not in my reach, in my grasp right now. Trying to get finances together.
Who do you live with now?
I live with my mother.
No, you don't. Not all the time. I say that because there was a slight pause in your answer. I live with my mother. People who live with their mother say, I live at home. Is that your friend?
Long-time friend.
Good. Even he knows you don't live with your mother. Mr. Medrano, you make a baby, you have to support that child.
I agree.
And you can't say, I have things to pay for, I have school, I have other things. If you're a substitute teacher, that means when you're not substitute teaching, you have time. You can do a lot of things. You drive a taxi cab, you drive a livery, you do something to make money.
That's not what I graduated college for.
Oh, sir, I understand that. People do things that they don't necessarily enjoy doing and that they're not necessarily trained to do or aspire to do in the future when they have responsibilities. You created a responsibility, and if no other family court judge has said this to you directly, I'm going to tell you that it is unfair and irresponsible and long-term is going to be the worst mistake you ever made by not treating the responsibility two of you created as the most important responsibility you have right now. I have worked a lot of jobs that I wasn't trained to do because I had a family to take care of. My husband, for sure, did a lot of jobs because he had children to take care of. Part-time, nights, weekends. Because when you make children, it's your responsibility to see to it that they want for nothing. So grow up and get your act together. Your claim is dismissed, as is your counterclaim. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Her suit was frivolous.
I thought the whole thing was ridiculous and we could have settled it at home.
People do anything, you know, to try to make you look bad and try to get money that they don't really deserve.
People should be responsible, and it's true. When they bring a kid into this world, they should take care of them.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fulcher versus Shaw. Step forward, please.
20-year-old student Sarah Fulcher is suing her former friend, 20-year-old student Catherine Shaw, for the cost to repair her truck. Sarah says Catherine drove the vehicle without permission.
Miss Fulcher, you go to college?
Yes, Your Honor.
Which school do you go to?
Tulane University.
And you?
Tulane University.
According to your complaint, you decided to park your car at the defendant's house.
Yes, Your Honor.
And your arrangement, according to you, was that when you needed the car, you would come by and pick it up, and that there were occasions when she drove your car. And on one occasion, she drove your car, she had an accident, and you want her to pay for the damage to the car.
Yes, Your
Case is about, the defendant says you should use your insurance. So, when did you start to park your car at her house?
I had previously lived at that residence, and I'd started parking there in October of 2000. I continued parking my car there when I moved, and...
When did you move?
I moved in January of 2001.
And your discussion with the defendant when you decided to leave your car there was what?
There was not too much of a discussion. It was a public parking on the street.
I see. So it was just in front of her house?
Yes.
Is that right?
Not exactly. She also gave me the keys to her car, and she allowed me to run small errands.
Did you have a car yourself?
No.
Okay. When was the accident?
The accident was February 19th.
Tell me what happened on the 19th of February.
On the 19th, I was running an errand, and I was
time?
Around 10 o'clock in the morning, and I was making a left turn, and as I was turning, a woman in a black car hit me, and she got out of the car, and she was hysterical, and then she was screaming about how her mother was a police officer, and that she was going to go get her, and she got in the car, and I never saw her again.
Okay. So you were making a left turn, and somebody who was coming from the other direction who had the right of way hit you?
Someone that was behind me hit me.
In the rear?
Yes.
So the car was hit in the rear?
Well, it was in the side because I was turning, and it hit the back side of the car.
So you called her and told her that you had had an accident?
Yes, ma'am.
Take it from there. What did you discuss about the damage?
At the time of the accident, I was in my room studying for a midterm, and I had no idea that she'd taken my car that morning. I had not given her permission to take my car. I received a phone call, and I advised her to call and file an accident report. And at the time, she discussed that a woman had hit her and that she had driven off after the accident. So it was a hit and run, basically. I then talked to Kathy about payment, and Kathy had said that, it was her fault, she was the one driving, she would pay for the damages. And
did you say that to her?
No, ma'am, I did not. I said, see what the cost is, I'll see what I can do. I never agreed to pay for anything.
Why not?
Because I wasn't sure about my rights, and I told her that I would speak with my parents, and my parents told me to talk to a lawyer before I said anything.
Is that what happened?
No, Your Honor. This was in February, and she'd told me she would pay, and I'd given her 3 months. I did not take the truck to a body shop until May because she was saving up money to pay for the damages for my truck. And so I've been very lenient.
Is that what she said to you?
She said, I don't have the money right now, I need more time. So I assumed that she was saving up money for the damages. In early May, I took the truck to a body shop, but at this time, she had not spoken with her parents yet. She was just going to pay and not tell her parents about it. And it was just going to be between us because it was our issue. And Kathy kind of avoided the situation, and I told her that my mom might want to talk to her mother about the situation to see if we can work anything out, and that my mom would like to speak to Kathy about a payment plan. My parents were willing to help her out with that, and she could pay like a monthly payment of $100 a month. They never got to discuss this with her, though, because then I got a call from her saying that she has a lawyer now and she can't talk to me, which ruined the friendship, basically, too, since we're not allowed to speak.
So let me understand this. When you spoke initially to the defendant after the accident, is your testimony that she said to you, in sum and substance, that she would take care of it, but she needs a little more time?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Shaw, if I understand you correctly, you did discuss payment of the damage for the car when you initially, just pay attention, when you initially spoke to the plaintiff, there was a discussion about paying for the damage.
Yes, there was.
You at least intimated to her that let's see how much the damage is, and sometime later indicated that you don't have the money right now. That be a fair statement?
Somewhat fair. I told her from the beginning that I did not have the money, and I never said that I was saving up.
But you intimated that to her, because if you say I don't have the money, and that's it, and I'm not paying you, then she has other options. Maybe insurance company, maybe just have the car fixed and sue you at that point. But if you said, I don't have the money and added right now, but I'm going to be working and saving it and I'll take care of it, that would lend some credibility to her testimony that she waited to have the car fixed because she was waiting for you to come up with the money.
No, Your Honor. When I told her that I did not have the money, this was when I believed that it was going to go under the insurance. But then after a while, I was told that her parents didn't want to put it on the insurance because they didn't want their rates to go up. And that's when I said, I cannot pay for this. This is not happening, and I got a lawyer.
Well, just a minute. Do you think that that's unfair, Ms. Shaw?
Well, when she allowed me to drive the car, she knew the risks.
So did you?
Yes, Your Honor.
You mean only she knew the risks?
I assumed that it would go through insurance.
You never even thought about it. Ms. Shaw, if this accident for which you were responsible went on her family's policy, there is no question that their rates would go up substantially, and not just for a year. Let me see the estimate for the truck.
The estimate does detail the exact panels that were damaged.
Which panels were they?
The front panel with the door, the bottom corner was pulled under. The long back panel extending over the wheelbase and holding the gas tank was also damaged, and it was bent under to where the fuel tank was actually hanging kind of loose because the bracket was damaged.
Well, that would indicate that you were making a left turn and you weren't in the left lane.
There was only one lane on the street, and they hit me from behind.
They can't hit you from behind on the side of your car.
It was a wide street that we were driving.
So you were making a left turn from a wide street, but you were probably over on the right-hand side because somebody didn't hit you from the rear. They hit the side of the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
This wasn't a rear-end hit. And also, Ms. Shaw, you have an obligation. This woman had absolutely no right to take off without exchanging information, but you should have been aware enough if somebody hit you and it's their fault and they stopped the car. You get out of the car, you look at their car, you look at the license plate, you describe the person who was driving the car. You know, you take all that into consideration. You didn't get all of that information because had you gotten that information, we wouldn't be here today, because if your story is accurate, it was the lady's fault and her insurance company would pay for the damage.
The only information that I didn't get was the license plate because she drove off too quickly.
That's your fault that you didn't get the license plate number. Get back in your car and follow her till you get the license plate number. So there are all kinds of scenarios that you could have done to prevent her from suffering any damage because of something you did. That's taking responsibility for your actions. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,829.08. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may.
Các em thân mến, chào mừng các em đến với video mới ngày hôm nay nhé. Ở video này thì cô sẽ hướng dẫn các em tín hiệu của hai hỗn số, và hai hỗn số này cô đã viết trên bảng, đây là 7, 3/8 và trừ đi 5, 1/4. Đối với phần hỗn số thì đối với phần này phép cộng và phép trừ thì chúng ta có thể thực hiện phần nguyên riêng và phần phân số riêng, hoặc chúng ta đổi ra thành phân số nhé. Đầu tiên chúng ta sẽ làm cách 1. Cách 1 ở đây chúng ta sẽ tính phần nguyên trước. Biểu thức này sẽ bằng 7 trừ đi 5. Chúng ta sẽ cộng với 3/8 và trừ đi 1/4, đúng không ạ? Ở đây sẽ bằng 2 cộng cho, ở đây mẫu số chung là 8, thì chúng ta sẽ một chút, ở đây sẽ bằng 2 cộng cho mẫu chung là 8 thì đây sẽ là 3/8 và trừ cho 2/8, đúng không nào? Đây là 2/8 thì sẽ bằng 2 cộng cho 1/8 bằng 2, 1/8, đúng không ạ? Và một cách nữa là chúng ta đổi ra phân số. Cách 2 này thường nó sẽ dài hơn vì làm cho phân số to hơn. Ở đây sẽ là 7 x 8 cộng với 3/8. Chúng ta sẽ trừ luôn. Ở đây chúng ta sẽ quy đồng luôn nhé. 5 x 4 bằng 20. 20 cộng 1 là 21. 21 và ở đây sẽ là 21 nhân cho 2 luôn, chia cho 4 x 2. Ở đây ta thấy là 5, 6 cộng 3 sẽ là 5, 9. 5, 9 cộng ở đây, 5, 9 ở đây sẽ là trừ cho 42 phân 8. Ở đây sẽ được 17 phân 8, đúng không ạ? 17 phân 8 thì chúng ta sẽ bằng 2, là 2 nhân 8, 16 thì còn 1 phân 8 nữa. Và hai kết quả này có kết quả giống nhau. Đối với phép cộng và phép trừ thì chúng ta sẽ thực hiện phần nguyên trước, rồi chúng ta thực hiện phân số 6 cũng được, hoặc chúng ta sẽ đổi hai cái ở đây, cô có thể đóng ngoặc cho các em dễ nhìn, hoặc là chúng ta sẽ tính phân hỗn số chúng ta đổi thành phân số thì chúng ta cũng có thể được kết quả như vậy. Và các em thấy là trong hai cái cách này thì cách một là cái cách mà chúng ta cộng trừ phần nguyên trước thì số sẽ tối giản, nó sẽ nhỏ hơn rất là nhiều, đúng không ạ? Còn nếu như mà chúng ta sử dụng cái cách 2 này thì mà chúng ta đổi thành phân số, nếu mà phép cộng hay phép trừ mà cái mẫu số nó lớn tạo thành những cái mẫu số chung lớn thì khi chúng ta chia, khi mà có kết quả cuối cùng chúng ta chia về để được một cái kết quả là hỗn số thì việc chia số có hai chữ số khá là phức tạp. Rất may là bài toán này là mẫu số chung là số 8, là số có một chữ số thì chúng ta sẽ dễ dàng này.